All heavens. Pick up cards starting from Naruto. Chapter 1. Konoha. In a somewhat dilapidated small courtyard, under a dying tree. Chen Tian slowly put away the shuriken in his hand and looked at the passers-by who were hurriedly walking outside the courtyard with sad faces, with an emotional expression. It has been 10 days since I came to this world. That's right, Chen Tian is a time traveler, and he has a system. A system called card pickup can randomly pick up attribute cards dropped by others from others. The stronger the person, the higher the level of cards they can pick up, and the higher attributes Chen Tian will get. From power cards, to speed cards, to ninjutsu cards, etc., the attributes of the cards picked up are all kinds of strange. From low to high levels, there are white cards, blue cards, purple cards, red cards and gold cards. Gold is the highest level card. Unfortunately, the system has been activated for 10 days. Not only did Chen Tian not see the shadow of the golden card, he had not even picked up any cards so far. The reason is that the day he traveled through time happened to be the day the Third Ninja War ended. His parents had died in the war, leaving only Chenshin, who was only 5 years old. The panic coming from time travel and the confusion about the future made Chen Tian dare not leave the courtyard. As a result, he has not seen anyone at all in the past 10 days, and naturally there are no cards for him to pick up. It's almost time. Looking at the sky, Chenshin changed into black clothes and headed towards Konoha's cemetery. Today is the day when the heroes who died on the battlefield enter the cemetery, and everyone will go there. Walking on the road, looking at the sad and heartbroken passers-by on the lonely streets, Chen Tian became more aware of the cruelty of this world. Just one war broke thousands of families in Konoha. Some children became orphans like him, and some mothers lost their husbands and children. That's right, at the end of the Third War, Konoha had already started sending children to the battlefield. I must become strong enough to control my own destiny. While secretly swearing in his heart, Chen Tian arrived at the cemetery and looked up. The leader was none other than the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was still in his prime. Then he swept away rows of people, including the pale-faced Orochimaru, the gentle-faced Namikaze Minato and others. However, they all looked sad at this time and stood quietly in front of the memorial monument. Seeing that no one noticed him as a child, Chen Tian randomly found a corner and stood down. Although the body of the parents is also on the memorial tablet, Chen Tian is not very sad. Because he has never seen the parents of this body at all. Even because of the war, the original owner had not seen his parents a few times. Even though Chen Tian searched all his memories, he only knew that his parents came back at most once a year. Had he not hired an ordinary person to take care of him, the original owner might have starved to death before he could cross over. It can be learned that after his parents died in the war, the nanny also left on his own. Because the original owner couldn't bear the blow and was exhausted mentally and physically, he allowed Chen Tian to travel through. However, although there is no emotion, the memorial ceremony must still be held. Just when Chen Tian was thinking wildly, he suddenly saw a white card under the feet of the person in front of him. It looks about the same size as a playing card, but it is covered with milky white light and looks very beautiful. When Chen Tian wanted to explore the content on the card, he found that he could not see anything. The ninja in front of him, Chen Tian, didn't recognize him, but judging from his clothes, he was obviously a genin of the Uchiha clan. After hesitating for a while, Chen Tian still could not resist the temptation of the card. He pretended to have a sad expression and squatted down slowly. There is no way. After all, this is the first time he has seen the card. No one knows how long the card will last. It would be bad if it disappears. Most of the people present were ninjas, and Chen Tian's actions naturally did not escape their attention. But when he saw a 5-year-old child losing his temper because of sadness, he didn't pay much attention to it. On the contrary, when Namikaze Minato, who had a sunny face, saw the morning sky, his expression suddenly turned gloomy. Of course, Chen Tian didn't see this scene. He was slowly extending his claws towards the white card. Because the distance was very close, Chen Tian easily collected the cards. Then he rubbed his eyes and stood up again with a look of suppressing sadness. Casually placing his gaze on a tombstone, Chen Tian couldn't wait to observe the white card in his mind. During this period, he got up early and stayed up late every day, exercising like crazy, but to no avail. It turns out that his talent is very average, and the system is the only way for him to become stronger. Ding, the white card has a strength attribute of +1, do you want to absorb it? Absorb. Immediately afterwards, a warm current poured into the body. The feeling of comfort made Chen Tian narrow his eyes slightly. He could clearly feel that his body strength had increased a lot. Calling out the body attribute panel. Host, Chenshin. Strength, 5. Speed, 4. Physique, 4. Spirit, 22. Skill, Shuriken Basic LV1. PS. The average adult score is 10 in all 4 categories. Putting the body panel into his eyes, Chen Tian looked away. Except for spirit, which is due to time travel, other attributes are pitifully low. The skills are only the basics of Shuriken that I just learned in the past 10 days. Chenshin was just in a daze, but in the eyes of everyone, it was obvious that the child couldn't bear the huge blow and was in a daze. Seeing this scene, Minato Namikaze gritted his teeth and whispered to Kushina Uzumaki beside him. Kushina, that is Izumi and Hei's child, I want to adopt him. Chen Ping and Xingquan are Chen Tian's parents. They are also from civilian backgrounds and are neighbors with Namikaze Minato. It can be said that they grew up together since childhood. It was only later that because of Namikaze Minato's great talent, he was accepted as a disciple by Jiraiya, one of the 3 ninjas, and he gradually drifted away. But in this war, Chenping and Xingquan, who were special Junin, were once again assigned to Namikaze Minato. It is a pity that both of them died in the battle and did not come back alive. Okay, we'll go find Sandai when this is over. Kushina just glanced at Chen Tian and agreed without hesitation. She is also familiar with Chenshin's mother Xingquan, and she and Xingquan can be called best friends. As the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, she had no way of leaving Konoha. So when Xingquan has no mission, they always go shopping together. It's just that since the war started, they have hardly seen each other. Looking at Chen Tian's distracted expression at this time, Kushina could not suppress the maternal brilliance in her heart. Chenshin naturally didn't know that his future fate had been decided, and he was still looking around, trying to find other cards. It's a pity that there is no harvest yet. Wherever the leaves are flying, the will of fire will not be extinguished. After Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a long speech, everyone dispersed, and Chenshin also walked towards his den. This house with a courtyard is the only thing his parents left him. I can't train myself, and I don't know how to extract chakra yet. It seems that I will go out for a walk later to see if I can pick up anything good. Beyond that, it would be best to enter a ninja school, where there are so many attributes of classmates and teachers that can be picked up. On the way home, Chen Tian began to make plans for his future. He is just an ordinary orphan, and there is no way he can come into contact with powerful ninjas. So ninja school is the best choice, which can allow him to develop steadily and gradually become stronger. But for an orphan, ninja school is not that easy to get into, so he must find a way. In this way, Chen Tian slowly approached his small house while thinking. Crunch. Pushing open the door, the moment Chenshin was about to enter, he noticed something unusual. At that moment, his right hand touched the ninja bag on his waist, which contained his only weapon, a shuriken. My heart sank. I was just an ordinary child, and now I was an orphan. Who would come to find me? Especially at this critical moment when the Third World War is about to end, Chen Tian couldn't help but think too much. Don't be nervous, I'm your father's friend. Before Chen Tian could continue his action, a gentle voice sounded in the courtyard. Chen Tian looked intently, and Minato Namikaze with yellow hair and a smile was looking at him. Next to Namikaze Minato was Kushina Uzumaki with red hair on her shoulders. Immediately Chen Tian felt relieved. If it was these 2 people, although he didn't know why they were looking for him, there shouldn't be any danger. I've met Minato Jonin and Kushina Jonin. I wonder what you want from me. Chenshin saluted the 2 of them respectfully. In this ninja world, the only rule to save your life when you are weak is to never try to provoke people you can't afford to offend. After all, not everyone is Uchiha Sasuke, who can defy the sky and the earth and still live so well. Chen Tian does not have an older brother like Uchiha Itachi, nor does he have the status of being the son of the Sage of 6 Paths. Minato and Kushina, as ninjas, naturally noticed Chenshin's little moves. You look like you know us. Kushina knelt down and rubbed Chen Tian's little face with her two slender hands as white as jade. She had no doubts about Chen Tian in her heart, she just took this opportunity to rub Chen Tian. Although Chen Tian was young, her sculpted face and barely 1 meter height made it impossible for Kushina to take her eyes away. When Chenshin heard this, he was shocked at first, but after noticing Kushina's actions, he calmed down. Then he glanced at Namikaze Minato again. Although he was sunny, he was not as neurotic as Kushina. Maybe he doubted himself because of this matter. It's not like listening to the 8 code Suede. Because his little face was constantly deforming in Kushina's claws, Chen Tian's words were vague. Speak English. Kushina, who didn't understand, was immediately stunned, and then started rubbing her more and more wantonly. Looking at the angry expression, it was obvious that Chen Tian was playing tricks on her on purpose. Ahem, Kushina, he is saying that his parents told him to let him go first. Looking at the increasing black lines on Chenshin's forehead, Namikaze Minato covered his forehead with one hand and said awkwardly. This time Kushina reacted and reluctantly let go of Chen Tian's little face. Noticing that his cheeks were starting to tingle, Chen Tian glared at Kushina unhappily. But he also knew that Kushina was such a nervous woman, so he was not angry. Then he set his sights on Namikaze Minato again, waiting for his answer. That's it. Kushina and I are here to take you back to live together, and we have already obtained the consent of the 3rd generation. Minato Namikaze took a step forward, touched Chen Tian's ink-like black hair, and said gently. At the same time, he was always paying attention to Chenshin's expression, for fear of Chenshin's rejection. He failed to protect his friends on the battlefield. Minato could not face his own heart if his children could not have a better life. But he saw that when he was speaking, Chen Tian's eyes suddenly lit up, and he suddenly felt a lot more at ease. Without waiting for Chenshin's answer, he made a decision immediately. Look at what you need to take away. Kushina and I are waiting for you here. After saying that, he gently pushed Chenshin toward the house. But these words made Chen Tian confused. He just saw a golden card of the highest level falling from Namikaze Minato, so why did he agree to it? Yes, just when Minato took a step forward, Chen Tian saw a golden card falling from him, so he was a little dazed. This is a golden card, the highest level card in the system. The golden card dropped from Namikaze Minato. Chen Tian knew what this card represented. Definitely, it can only be the art of Flying Thunder God. At the moment, I don't care about anything else. Just adopt, the cards are the most important. So he followed Minato's power and threw the card towards the location with a snap. The moment he landed, he had already put the card in his bag. Seeing this, Kushina instantly came to Chen Tian, helped him up, and asked, "Are you okay?" "It's okay, I accidentally dropped it. I'll clean it up right away." Chenshin waved his hands repeatedly, and then hurriedly thought about running inside the house. Back inside the house, Chen Tian could still hear Kushina's roar and Minato's begging for mercy. Thinking that it was only the first time they met, Minato had taken the blame and was taken away by Kushina. A smile appeared on Chenshin's little face. It was said that he was packing, but in fact there was nothing to take, only his own change of clothes. As for the other things, they are all in a storage scroll. Chenshin only needs to take away the scroll. Having the consciousness of an adult, Chenshin, who has read the original Naruto novel, is very clear that it won't be long before the 3rd Hokage throws him into an orphanage and confiscates his house and other financial assets. Now following Minato and Kushina is a very good choice. It is infinitely better than going to an orphanage. At least he can take away the wealth left by his parents. Adhering to the principle of not taking advantage of the black-hearted old man, Chen Tian implemented the strategy of plucking the goose's hair, leaving not even a grain of rice behind. From the original work, he disliked the 3rd generation old man very much. Of all the Hokages, he was the weakest, and he even shamelessly named himself the strongest Hokage. In order to ruin the position of the village chief, he carried out all kinds of conspiracies and tricks. He didn't want to strengthen Konoha every day, but he knew Zongliang. Having the time, wouldn't you think of ways to open up financial avenues for Konoha and free Konoha from the control of the daimyo? Forget it, the problem is that you actually put all the blame on Danzo, and you walked through thousands of flowers without even touching a leaf. completely express the word shameless to the fullest. Even though he thought so, Chen Tian would never say it out loud. There is no way, who can let this shameless old thief live the longest? After saying it, Chen Tian felt that he would not survive the next day. After finishing cleaning up, Chen Tian opened the system. Although Minato and Kushina did not follow up, with their strength, they would definitely be able to detect their actions. So after cleaning up, stop because of reluctance. This is the best reason. Ding, the golden card is a primary space talent. Do you want to absorb it? Absorb. Although it was different from his guess, Chen Tian was a little confused, but he still absorbed it. Just like when he absorbed the power card before, a warm current continued to flow in his body. The only difference is that this warm current is much larger than before. After the absorption was over, Chen Tian clenched his fist hard, but there was no improvement. His system has no intelligence at all, so Chen Tian can only slowly explore it on his own. Bring up the system panel. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 5. Speed, 4. Physique, 4. Spirit, 22. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skill, Shuriken Basic LV1. All attributes remain unchanged, except for the addition of Space Talent. The moment he saw this talent, Chen Tian knew why it was a golden card. Because this means that he can practice all space attribute ninjutsu in the future, the representative of which is the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. While being excited, Chen Tian curled his lips a little greedily. The lowest level is LV1 and the highest is LV9. This talent is only LV3, which is not powerful enough. Namikaze Minato, you are such a piece of trash. After picking up the card, his space talent was completely equal to Minato, so Chen Tian couldn't help but sigh. Time is like running water, passing by quietly. Unknowingly, Chenshin had spent 2 months with Minato and Kushina. Because of the care of Minato and Kushina, Chenshin's heart gradually calmed down and he was no longer as panicked as before. So gradually, he slowly revealed his original character. During these 2 months, Chen Tian never gave up on his cultivation, but worked harder and harder. Hence, even if he did not pick up any cards, his strength has grown somewhat. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 6, Speed, 5, Physique, 5, Spirit, 22, Chakra, 5, Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Physical Technique LV1, Chakra Extraction Technique LV1. Seeing that his strength, speed, and physique had improved a little, Chen Tian was very satisfied, and a cute smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Basic taijutsu was given to him by Namikaze Minato, and he was just getting started. As for the chakra extraction technique, it was something left to Chen Tian by his father. It was because he learned the chakra extraction technique that he had chakra. During this period, he also figured out that the chakra in the system refers to the reserves, not the existing chakra. Chakra 5 is like a cup. Whether there is water or not, it is still 5. When the chakra in the system increases, the cup is enlarged to have more capacity. Xiaochen, it's time to eat. At this moment, Kushina's voice sounded in the room, and at the same time, the tempting smell of rice came. I know, I'll come right away. Before he could finish his words, Chenshin walked toward the room with his short legs. There is no need to look or ask, just by the smell of the rice, you can tell that this is Minato's work. Although Kushina's cooking skills are good, she has no talent and has always been at a good level. I'm gonna start now. Wash your hands quickly. Chenshin starts eating with a groan. Minato and Kushina smiled at each other and started eating as well. It is worth mentioning that although Chenshin was adopted, he was not the son of Minato and Kushina, but his younger brother. This is also the result obtained after Chen Tian argued hard. Crack. The sound of bowls and chopsticks falling to the ground suddenly sounded. Chen Tian looked up and saw a layer of red mist appearing around Kushina's body. Kushina closed her eyes and moved her fingers together. Minato appeared in front of Kushina immediately. He placed his right hand on Kushina's lower abdomen, and a very complicated mark appeared on Kushina's lower abdomen. Nine-tailed chakra. At the first moment, this sentence appeared in Chenshin's heart. However, after seeing Minato and Kushina's actions, he was no longer anxious. Although the Nine Tails is powerful, it cannot break away from Kushina's control, let alone Minato's help. But as he looked at it, Chen Tian realized that something was not right. He seemed to sense a space, and there was no obstruction in this space. With just one step, he seemed to be able to enter this space. Thinking this way, Chen Tian did the same. The moment he took a step, he felt as if he had passed through a layer of water, which made him unable to open his eyes. So he didn't see that there was a card with purple light under his feet, which he stepped on ruthlessly. When he opened his eyes, he saw three confused faces, those of Minato, Kushina and Kyuubi. "Why did you come in?" In an instant, Minato appeared in front of Chenshin and protected Chenshin behind him. It wasn't until this moment that Kushina and Kyuubi reacted. Kushina also came to Chenshin, while Kyuubi snorted proudly in the cage, but also raised his ears to eavesdrop. I don't know, I just suddenly felt a space, and then I came in." Chenshin was also very confused. He didn't know how he entered the space inside Kushina's body. On the contrary, Minato's eyes flashed and he asked, "Xiaochen, are you saying that you felt a space and then came in whenever you wanted?" "Yes." Chen Tian nodded without hiding anything. Hearing this, Minato's eyes sparkled even more brightly, and he said to Kushina, "The matter here is over, let's go back and talk." Kushina was stunned for a moment, then nodded, and her figure gradually disappeared. Minato also pulled Chenshin toward the black passage. Before leaving, Chen Tian glanced at Juwei curiously, but just this time, he could no longer look away. Because Kyuubi has hundreds of cards of various colors beside him, including white, blue, and purple. But the next moment, his and Minato's figures began to disappear. When he came back to his senses, Chen Tian found that he was still sitting in the same place, not moving at all. For a while, he had some guesses in his mind. Since a behemoth like Kyuubi can be trapped in the body, the place where Kyuubi is imprisoned is obviously a space. The reason why he was able to get in was obviously because of LV3's space talent. After some discussion, Minato determined that Chen Tian's talent in space was not weaker than his at all, so he was very happy. He was even more determined in his heart to teach Chen Tian the art of flying Thunder God once he has the strength to be a Junin. But Chenshin himself didn't know all this. While confirming his talent, he also received some bad news. That is, although he has space talent, he cannot freely enter the space where Nine Tails is imprisoned. Only after the Nine Tails rebellion could he have the ability to enter. This made him stop playing with the numerous cards around Kyuubi. After dinner, Chen Tian went back to his room alone. During this period, he also paid little attention to the situation in the ninja world. The three wars have now completely ended. After that, the major ninja villages secretly licked their wounds and continued to grow and develop. All the things that should have happened, such as Obito Uchiha is dead, Minato's voice continues to get louder, etc. This made Chen Tian feel a sense of oppression in his heart. Others didn't know it, but he knew the future. The big boss Uchiha Obito is already in place, Orochimaru is about to defect, the Knight of the Nine Tails is only a few years away, and the Uchiha clan is not far away. Not to mention the random dancing after the plot begins, the movie level is like a weakling. None of these things are small, and with his strength there is absolutely no way he can interfere. Originally, as long as you survive and slowly become stronger, it will be fine, but now that you have Minato and Kushina, Chenshin wants to keep them. And this requires strong power to complete. Minato is now 21 years old. He became Hokage at the age of 22 and died in the Nine Tails Rebellion at the age of 24. That means I must have shadow level strength within 3 years. Thinking of this, Chen Tian's head feels big. The cage level is not that easy to break through, otherwise why would Hiruzen Sarutobi be the third Hokage? After setting the goal, Chenshin started to make plans. He is only 5 years old now, and his physical fitness and chakra are his biggest shortcomings, which can only be made up for through the system. There is only one person in Konoha who is most likely to drop physical fitness cards, and that is Metkai. The second thing is chakra. This thing must have the most tailed beasts, and the Nine Tails are even more. So Chenshin still set his sights on Juwei, but the specific plan had to be implemented slowly. As for ninjutsu, it is much simpler. Not too many people know it, and you can pick up a lot casually. In addition, he can also learn by himself, a two-pronged approach. Metkai should be at the training ground. While guessing, Chenshin stopped waiting, said hello to Kushina and ran towards the training ground. After leaving home, Chenshin jogged all the way to the training ground. It has been 2 months since the war ended. Although Konoha is still deserted, it has also recovered a lot. At least there are many more people on the streets. But Chenshin didn't care much about these things, and soon he arrived at the training ground. Bang bang bang. As soon as he arrived at the training ground, he saw his target, a watermelon rind wearing green tights. But what surprised Chen Tian was that the person who was fighting with watermelon peel was Hitaki Kakashi. Beside the training ground, a girl was watching the battle between Kakashi and Metkai. Although his memory was a little fuzzy, Chen Tian still recognized the girl. I didn't expect Nohara Lin to be alive. In an instant, 10,000 conspiracies emerged in Chen Tian's mind. Done it. Chen Tian, who originally had no idea about the future, suddenly thought of how to develop in the future. Secretly inciting rebellion against Obito, after saving the people he cares about, he tried his best to make the plot develop as smoothly as possible. Thinking about the terrifying strength of those people in the later stage, and thinking about the cards that may fall at any time, Chen Tian felt like his saliva was about to flow out. But the first thing is to have a good relationship with these 3 people. Tap tap tap. There was a burst of small steps, and Chen Tian came not far from Yuan Lin, pretending to watch the battle between Kakashi and Metkai. But his eyes were on the ground around the 2 of them, where there were many cards lying quietly. Little brother, are you here to train too? Yuan Lin noticed Chen Tian's arrival immediately and asked immediately. Just looking at her appearance, Chen Tian always felt that she was a little bit impatient and wanted to rub his face with sinful hands. But after taking a closer look at Yuan Yelin's appearance, Chen Tian felt that it was not okay to let such a beautiful young lady rub her. Yes, my brother said that Metkai is a very strong taijutsu ninja, so he asked me to train with him. Chen Tian did not hesitate to put the blame on Minato, without the slightest feeling of guilt. Child, who is your brother? Kakashi and Metkai, who had long noticed that Chen Tian had ended the battle. When Chen Tian was talking to Yuan Lin, he appeared behind him. Hearing Kakashi's cold and emotionless voice, Chen Tian knew that Kakashi's heart was now full of darkness. Hey, my brother is Minato Namikaze, your mentor. Chenshin spread his hands, walked to the place where Kakashi and Metkai were fighting amid the weird looks of the 3 people, and sat down on the ground. Hands flapping randomly, he put the cards into his bag one by one. After he finished collecting it, he was about to stand up when he suddenly discovered that the sole of his right foot was actually emitting a purple light. Looking down at the moment, he saw an expression of ecstasy on his face after discovering the purple card on the sole of his foot. Ha 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 ha. Looking at Chen Tian sitting on the ground laughing, the 3 of Kakashi looked at each other, their eyes full of pity. Hirano Lin came to Kakashi gently, pulled his sleeve and asked, Kakashi, isn't this kid stupid? Who knows? After replying boringly, Kakashi took the lead to leave. He also wanted to ask Minato to see if what the child said was true. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a white card, +1 strength point. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting the blue card, Fire Escape, the powerful fireball technique. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a blue card, the speed value is increased by 10. A series of prompts sounded, and Chenshin's attributes underwent earth-shaking changes. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 23, Speed, 25, Physique, 19, Spirit, 25, Chakra, 5, Talent, Space Talent LV3, Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. The next thing is the most important. Chenshin just glanced at it casually, then rubbed his hands and eagerly opened the purple card. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a purple card, and 1,000 chakras. I'm a fool. I'm a fool. Seeing the system prompt, Chenshin jumped up excitedly. 1,000 points of chakra is a Junin level. I was still worried about chakra before, but now it is solved inexplicably. Chen Tian felt that God really fell into the trap of Miss Lin, which was so satisfying. At the moment, I can't wait to admire my property panel. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 23, Speed, 25, Physique, 19. Spirit, 25. Chakra, 1005. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. Hey, Chenshin, are you okay? Just as Chenshin was drooling, Metkai's right hand landed on Chenshin's shoulder with a pop sound. This interrupted Chen Tian's fantasy of stepping on Uchiha Madara and hammering Kagaya Otsutsuki. It's okay, I'm here to exercise with you. After gathering his emotions, Chen Tian said seriously. After saying this again, he actually already knew what Metkai would do next. As expected, the next moment, Metkai hugged me like the wind and burst into tears with emotion. Everything here is as expected by Chen Tian, and Kakashi also knows the origin of Chen Tian. After learning that he was indeed Minato's younger brother, he let go of his doubts. After temporarily gaining Metkai's trust, Chenshin has been following him, occasionally picking up cards dropped by Metkai. Watching my attributes increase little by little, I feel an indescribable joy in my heart. The only thing that makes him a little worried is that the ninja school will start soon. At this time, he no longer wanted to go to the ninja school. Wouldn't it be nice to be with Minato and others every day, picking up high-level cards? However, during this period, Chen Tian also figured out how to drop cards. The first method is high-intensity exercise, which has a very small chance of dropping cards. The second way is to fight. The chance of dropping cards during battle is very high. The last one is random drop. Whether you are eating or sleeping, there is a 1 in 10,000 chance of dropping a card. This is how the golden card on Minato dropped. So if you want to get a lot of cards, you can only fight with others or watch other people fight. But if you want Minato, Kushina and others to fight in front of you, the possibility is not too small. Chenshin also tried to fight the two of them, but the system didn't think it was a battle at all, and not a single whiteboard card was dropped. Coupled with the strong demands of Minato and Kushina, Chen Tian had no choice but to enter the ninja school. Hoo ha, I can't do it anymore, Kai, you can do it yourself. With a pop, Chen Tian fell to the ground weakly, feeling that his hands no longer belonged to him. When I watched Naruto in my previous life, I thought Kai was a pervert, but I didn't expect him to be so perverted. The first step is to do 5,000 push-ups to warm up. The attributes of the morning are more than 20 points, and it is not enough to do only 500 push-ups. 5,000, sir, 5,000. Looking at Kai, whose expression was still extremely relaxed, Chen Tian endured it again and again, and finally couldn't help but said, "You are really a pervert." Ha, as long as you keep exercising, you can do it too. Kai grinned and gave a thumbs up with his right hand. The other hand was still bending and straightening, and the corners of Chenshin's mouth twitched as he looked at it. Then he summed up his various attributes, and his strength increased by 2 points, reaching 25 points. The weakest physique has now exceeded 20, reaching 21 points. As for the others, there are no changes. Alas, it only increased by 3 points in total, it's really too slow. Chen Tian looked at the sky with dull eyes and couldn't help but sigh. Had it not been for the fact that his physical fitness had not increased by itself during exercise, his physical fitness would only be 20 points now. While resting in the morning, Metkai had already completed his warm-up and ran a circle around Konoha. Although Kai is only 14 years old this year, he has been a chunin for a long time. If it breaks out with all its strength, its combat effectiveness is even better than Kakashi's. According to Chen Tian's estimation, he is definitely not far away from becoming a Junin. These thoughts flashed through Chen Tian's mind. After he recovered his strength, he patted his clothes and headed towards Minato's house. Now that the sun is setting in the west, it has entered the evening, and it is time to go home in the morning. Otherwise Kushina will definitely teach him why the flowers are so red. The fourth training ground was originally on the edge of Konoha, still far away from the central area. Coupled with the fact that it was getting late, Chenshin discovered that there was no one else here except him. Tisk, according to the plot of the novel, you should be assassinated at this time. Looking around at the woods on both sides, Chenshin's small eyes were full of expectation. That's the protagonist treatment, and he wants to give it a try. Tap, tread, A series of footsteps fell, and Chen Tian was getting farther and farther away from the training ground. After walking more than 10 meters, he would be completely out of the woods. Chenshin, who had always been vigilant, had a look of disappointment in his eyes. Am I really not the protagonist? Until Chenshin returned home, he did not encounter any danger, which made Chenshin feel disappointed for a while. A long voice came from the forest where Chen Tian left. Are all children in Konoha so vigilant? Shaoshan, the ninja school will start in a few days, and Minato and I will sign you up. Just as he picked up his job, Kushina made an announcement. Okay, I get it. Looking at the morning sky, which looked like an eggplant beaten by frost, Minato couldn't help but laugh, and immediately started to add insult to injury. My dear, now that the war is over, you have to attend the ninja school for 6 years before you can graduate. Looking at Minato's expression of suppressing a smile, Chen Tian was completely helpless, and after a few words, he returned to the bedroom. Are you kidding me about going to a ninja school now? Kakashi and others have all graduated, and Itachi Uchiha is only 3 years old. Why should I go to a ninja school? Thinking of this, Chenshin started to lie down with his eyes blank. Kakashi, Asuma, Yuhi Kurenai and others are older than him. They have graduated because of the war, and the 12 little ones have not yet been born. During this period, the only one famous in the original novel was Uchiha Itachi, but he was only 3 years old and was still wearing crotchless pants. This means that all Chenshin's classmates are cannon fodder. I'm sorry. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, and Chen Tian finally couldn't help but curse. Without these geniuses, they are all cannon fodder. How about I go pick up some stupid cards? But there is no way. The rules of Konoha cannot be easily changed just because of one person, especially when the third Hokage is on the throne. Besides, Minato and Kushina also wanted to go to school in the morning, so he had no choice but to obey orders. No, Chen Tian stood up, rubbing his chin and murmured, the night of the 9 tails will be 2 years later. I can't just watch Minato and Kushina die. I have to find a way. Fight, fight. Without war, we cannot leave Konoha. Where is the battle? Pa. Suddenly, Chen Tian clapped his hands and said excitedly, yes. Go to sleep. At this moment, the satisfied Chenshin fell asleep with a smile on his face. After a while he entered a dream. In the dream, Chen Tian held a lot of money in his hands and held the first martial arts conference in Konoha Square. The prize for first place is a full 10 million, which can buy 1/3 of Sarutobi Asuma's head. In order to obtain this bonus and Konoha's strongest reputation, ninjas throughout Konoha rushed to sign up. Even the Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but participate in this martial arts competition. In the morning, he was basking in the sun while picking up his attributes, and golden cards buried him like rain. By the time of the decisive battle, Chenshin was already invincible in the ninja world, and he directly defeated Sarutobi Hiruzen and Minato from the ring in a 1-on-2 fight. In the quiet room, Chen Tian, who was sitting with a sweet dream, had a rippling smile on his face, and his saliva was dripping down. Early the next morning, I didn't even have time to eat breakfast after waking up, so I ran out to inspect Konoha. After leaving home, Chen Tian immediately headed towards the business district. Hey, is this the meatball shop that Uchiha Itachi often goes to in the future? Chenshin rubbed his chin and walked in. After some picking and choosing, I walked out of the store with 2 bunches of 3-color meatballs in my hand. After taking a bite, I murmured, it just tastes like this, nothing special. After finishing 2 bunches of 3-color meatballs in 3 strokes, 5 divided by 2, Chen Tian began to examine them carefully. There are barbecue restaurants, clothing stores, and casinos. Although we have them all, we don't have anything like hot pot yet, and the styles of these clothes are too low. But after touching his pocket, Chen Tian found that his startup capital seemed to be only a mere 100 taels. Looking at the charge sheet hanging on Ichiraku Ramen, a bowl of ramen costs 80 taels, and Chen Tian's face suddenly fell. It's only 100 taels, what else can you do besides eating a bowl of ramen? Besides, the ninja school will start in 3 days, and I don't have that much time to do it. Wow, what a cute little brother. Are you hungry standing here? Sister, please treat you to ramen. Suddenly, a little loli about the same age as Chen Tian walked out of the eel ramen shop. She looked at the frowning Chen Tian and exclaimed. Although I don't know this little Lolita, I know from the appearance that this little ***** is Calamus. But just as he opened his mouth to explain, a chorus interrupted and said, little brother, you don't have to be shy. Ichiraku ramen is from my sister's house. I can treat you to ramen. Father, let's treat this little brother to ramen. A chorus led Chen Tian into the store and said to Ichiraku. Ha ha ha. Yil, who was still young, smiled heartily and agreed, no problem. I'm not standing in front of Ichiraku ramen because I'm hungry. Until this moment, Chen Tian almost had the courage to speak, but Yil had already taken action, and there seemed to be no need to explain. At worst, just give me money after eating. I happen to be a little hungry too. So Chen Tian stopped worrying about it and began to think about his own way of making money. Minato and Kushina adopted him and cared for him meticulously. Chen Tian had no shame in asking them for money. After eating ramen, I only had 20 taels of pocket money left, so I could only buy some small items such as paper and pens. After taking a deep breath, Chen Tian made up his mind. Just at this time, Calamus also came with a bowl of noodles, waking up the morning sky. The noodles are here, please taste them. After putting down the bowl, Calamus hid aside, but his peripheral vision stayed on Chen Tian's face. This little brother is so cute, I really want to rub his face. No, Calamus, how could you have such rude thoughts? Shaking his little head hard, Calamus turned his head away from looking at the morning sky. Chen Tian naturally didn't know what this little loli, who was about the same age as herself, was thinking. In order to start her own business as soon as possible, she finished a bowl of ramen in 3 strokes, 5 divided by 2. I'm full, thank you for the treat. Putting the 80 taels in his hand on the table, Chenshin thanked Calamus very politely, and then left quickly. He still has things to do. Does a little loli have a small amount of money? Let's wait until she grows up to be a big Lolita. After leaving Ichiraku ramen, Chenshin pushed his physical fitness to the limit and bought a pen and a notebook, just in time to spend all the remaining 20 taels. Alas, did you pay the money too early? Otherwise, there is no need to be so embarrassed. Touching his empty pocket, Chen Tian couldn't help but sigh. Actually, he still has some money, not much, but 400,000 to 500,000 taels, but it was all given to Kushina before. Originally Kushina didn't want it, but with her determination, she collected the money and used it to marry herself a wife. This has resulted in Chen Tian's current embarrassing situation. But it doesn't matter, I don't have time to do those things anyway, and I don't have anyone I can trust. Shaked his head to throw all these thoughts out of his mind, Chen Tian solemnly picked up the pen in his hand. This is the basis for whether he can make a lot of money, so he cannot be serious. The 4 words, endurance breaks the sky, appeared on the notebook in front of Chen Tian. That's right, Chen Tian intends to be a copywriter and spread the best-selling books from his previous life to this world. He had read Jiraiya's The Legend of Perseverance at Minato's place. To be honest, it was really not that good. Even something like this can be a big seller. Chen Tiansai doesn't believe that a popular book in the past life will fail. Shua, aha. Based on memories and adaptations, Chen Tian's hands didn't stop for a moment, and the little man lay there writing furiously. Until Minato returned home in the afternoon, Chenshin was still writing selflessly. In the living room, Minato and Kushina discussed. I have already issued an admission certificate for Chen Tian. When the ninja school starts, we will send him to school. Minato shook the paper instructions in his hand proudly. However, Chen Tian's chakra is very powerful. Isn't it a bit wrong to let him go to school? Although it was not stated explicitly, Kushina could completely understand the meaning of Minato's words. Kushina smiled softly and said, it's okay. Chen Tian also said before that he wanted to go to ninja school. With just a few words, the two decided Chenshin's fate for the next 6 years. I don't know if Chen Tian would commit suicide in grief and anger after knowing that he missed an opportunity to change his destiny. He did say that he wanted to go to ninja school, but that was before he got the purple card of Kyuubi, not now. But even if he knew it, Chen Tian would only be more grateful to Minato and Kushina. Do you really think it's that easy to get into ninja school? The admission certificate in Minato's hand was very rare. Otherwise the ninja school would have been overcrowded. How could there be only so few people? While they were discussing matters in the morning, rumors gradually spread among Konoha. With the benefit of caring people, Orochimaru's reputation is getting worse and worse, while Minato's reputation is getting better and better. The situation that was expected once did not happen. Minato came from behind and even suppressed Orochimaru faintly. Ordinary people don't know what happened, but some smart people understand very well how imaginary this Konoha White Fang Hitaki Tsukumo was when he died. In addition, the Hyuga family is divided. Hyuga Hazashi's wife, the hostess of Konoha's largest weapons store, and a commoner woman are all pregnant. 3 of Konoha's future 12 little heroes have already been born. Of course, there are still almost 10 months before they are born. Early the next morning, Chen Tian put aside writing the book for the time being and went to the 4th practice field after breakfast. At this time, he and Metka agreed on an exercise time. The purpose of making money is to make oneself stronger, and he will not put the cart before the horse. Morning, Kai. As soon as he arrived at the training ground, Chen Tian saw Kai, who was already exercising. Then he walked around Kai as if nothing had happened, and pocketed all 3 white cards on the ground. After finishing all this, Pata lay down on the ground and started doing push-ups with Kai. Kai was already used to Chen Tian's weird behavior. After greeting him casually, he started practicing in silence. System, bring up the system panel. Easy to do push-ups with one hand. Chen Tian checked his data. Since there were no cards these days, Chen Tian didn't bother to look at them. But he didn't expect to be so lucky today, and 3 white cards came directly. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 25, Speed, 25, Physique, 22, Spirit, 25, Chakra, 10-10, Talent, Space Talent LV3, Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. It's not bad. My strength and physique have increased, and even my chakra has improved. But I have too few means now. There is only one ninjutsu, let alone one. It is a fireball jutsu that can't burn anyone. It's amazing. During the exercise, time flew by. In the blink of an eye, I completed 500 push-ups, 5 kilometers of long-distance running and 1,000 squats in the morning. By this time, the sky was getting dark. Guessing that Kushina's rice was almost ready, Chenshin greeted Kai. Kai, I'm leaving first. Okay, I'm going home too, see you tomorrow. As he spoke, Kai stood on his head and walked towards the other side. His home was on the other side of the training ground. Looking at the way Kai left, Chen Tian couldn't help but sigh. It's so hard. No wonder he was so strong later. Looking at the sky getting darker and darker, and the morning sky no longer stopping, I stepped into the forest and ran towards home. He has walked this road many times and is very familiar with it. After the first time, he knew that he was not the protagonist, and he never thought that someone would assassinate him here. But the slap in the face often comes so quickly. Whoops! Not far from the exit, a shuriken with a dark glow and one could see how sharp it was at a glance stabbed Chen Tian's throat. Poof! The sound of flesh penetration sounded. At the critical moment, Chen Tian relied on his extraordinary reaction to dodge and avoid the vital point. So this one stabbed into his shoulder. Drink! A childish shout rang out. Regardless of the pain, Chen Tian kicked the person in the abdomen, sending him flying backwards. After landing, he immediately left the place and ran to an open place. The brat of Konoha can actually dodge my attack, isn't it good? As if Chen Tian was determined, the person who came was no longer hiding in the shadows, and appeared in front of Chen Tian openly. With a donkey face with a hooked nose, 2 mung bean-like eyes and night clothes, he is not a good person at first glance. I cursed a few words in my mind, but when I said it out, it turned into, "Who are you?" From that village. As he spoke, Chenshin's eyes were observing calmly. This place was too far from the center of Konoha, and even if there was support, it would not be possible to come so quickly. As for Minato, it's even more impossible. He doesn't know what's going on here at all. It would be fine if it stayed like this, but the wound on his shoulder was bleeding. Preliminary estimate is that if I continue like this for another 5 minutes, I will lose too much blood. In 10 minutes, he will bleed to death without anyone else taking action. Ha, do you think I will say it? Or are you delaying it? But if you delay it, you probably can't hold on. The man in black showed a hint of disdain, looking at Chen Tian as if he were looking at a fool. The previous battle made almost no noise, and the possibility of Konoha noticing it was less than 1%. The little kid in front of him is probably just a student at a ninja school, not even an enemy. Coupled with the injuries on his body, the man in black didn't panic at all. Aren't all the villains in my novels revealing their identity at this time, giving the protagonist time to prepare? Why doesn't this guy act according to the routine? Chenshin was complaining crazily in his heart, but his heart gradually sank. Because the other party seemed casual, but the position he stood blocked Chen Tian's escape route. I'm almost ready to send you on your way. As soon as he finished speaking, the man in black rushed towards Chen Tian at extremely fast speed. Although it is not as fast as Kakashi and Metkai, it is still more than half as fast as them. Let's fight. Clenched his teeth, Chen Tian endured the pain on his shoulder and began to form seals. The reason why the man in black did not use ninjutsu was because he was afraid that too much movement would disturb Konoha. Based on his previous performance, Chen Tian estimated that he was an elite chunin, and he would definitely not be able to escape. So now we can only use ninjutsu to make enough noise to attract Konoha's attention and get out of trouble. Although the pain in his shoulders continues to affect Chen Tian, the only ninjutsu he knows, the fireball technique, is not difficult. Before the man in black rushed over, Chen Tian still successfully formed a seal in front of him, fire escape, the powerful fireball technique. In the blink of an eye, a fireball as big as a basketball erupted from Chen Tian's mouth and headed straight for the man in black. But Chenshin didn't even look at it, and once began to form seals in his hand. He can't do anything to the man in black just because he has too few ninjutsu. Really, the man in black is not the best at chakra. It's just a powerful fireball technique, I can release 100 of them. Who. One fireball after another kept moving towards the man in black, forcing the man in black to retreat. Fortunately I'm not a Junin, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do a teleportation technique. After forcing the man in black back, Chen Tian breathed a sigh of relief, but the movements in his hands did not stop at all. Boom! Violent explosions sounded one after another. Although they were not loud, they were enough to attract Konoha's attention. At least it was enough to attract the attention of Metkai, who was not far from here, and Chen Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Next, be careful of the opponent jumping over the wall in a hurry. The man in black cursed with an ugly expression. He knew that he could no longer hide it. To escape, to Luby. Boom! A wall of earth suddenly stood up, blocking 3 of Chen Tian's powerful fireballs. Earth escape, Earth Dragon Bullet. Behind the earthen wall, the man in black twisted his fingers wildly, and an earth yellow dragon rushed over ferociously thinking about the morning sky. Die to me. The moment the man in black appeared, the fireball that Chen Tian had prepared long ago was launched, heading straight towards the face of the man in black. Looking at the approaching fireballs, the man in black wanted to dodge, but the earth dragon bullets that were about to appear made it impossible for him to dodge. Boom! There was an explosion, and the fireball hit the man in black on the head, causing him to lose consciousness in an instant. But Chen Tian was not happy at all, because the earth dragon bullet used by the man in black before he died was only 1 meter away from him. Bang! At the moment when the Tulong bomb hit the morning sky, a foot wrapped in green clothes kicked Tulong on the head. Then Metkai's voice came. The secret of Konoha Taijutsu, Konoha's strong whirlwind. The earth dragon was torn apart under this powerful kick, and the violent airflow instantly flipped Chenshin to the ground. Phew! Survived. Chenshin, are you okay? After kicking the earth dragon away, Kai instantly appeared in front of Chen Tian and helped him up with a worried look on his face. It's okay, just go to the hospital to stop the bleeding. I won't die. Chen Tian shook his head indifferently, and then said, hurry and help me to the body. Question mark. When I raise a question mark, it's not that I have a problem, it's that you have a problem. With this expression of someone bleeding too much and about to die, the first thing you do is go to the corpse. Although he couldn't understand it, Kai still helped Chen Tian to come to the body of the man in black. Looking at the matching white, blue, and purple cards next to the body of the man in black, Chen Tian almost jumped up with excitement. System, pick up all the cards. Ding, the white card adds 1 to its power. Do you want to absorb it? Ding, the white card increases the speed by 1, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the blue card is a substitute spell, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the purple card is the Art of Earth Dragon Bullet, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the blue card is the Art of Earth Flow Wall, do you want to absorb it? 89 system prompts sounded in succession, and Chen Tian felt that he had never heard such a beautiful sound. Absorb it all. The absorption process that was originally very comfortable was simply unbearable due to the excessive blood loss in the morning, and I immediately fainted. Swish, swish, swish. Suddenly, more than a dozen Konoha Anbu appeared next to Metkai and Chenshin, surrounding them. After seeing one of the white-haired Anbu, Kai's eyes suddenly lit up and said, Kakashi, Chenshin was assassinated and fainted from excessive blood loss. I will take him to the hospital first. After saying that, Kai immediately hugged Chenshin and ran away quickly. When the Anbu tried to stop him, Kakashi stopped him. Although he was upset that Kai called his name casually, Chenshin's injuries did require him to go to the hospital in time. Clean the battlefield, take the body back to find out the information, I will report to the third Hokage. After assigning tasks vigorously and resolutely, Kakashi immediately headed towards the Hokage building. None of this has anything to do with Chenshin. With Metkai running with all his strength, Chenshin quickly arrived at the hospital. Actually, Chenshin's injury was not serious. He just fainted due to excessive blood loss. Under the treatment of Palm Immortal technique, he recovered quickly. It's just that you need to lie down for a while longer to replenish the blood in your body. There are no major sequelae, it will just be a period of weakness. After confirming that Chen Tian was fine, Kai left the hospital to inform Minato and Kushina. Shortly after Kai left, Chen Tian woke up leisurely. As soon as he regained consciousness, his hands began to form seals. It wasn't until he realized that the man in black was dead that he relaxed, breathed a sigh of relief and murmured, survived. After moving his body to make sure there were no major problems, Chen Tian summarized the battle. First of all, his body is too weak. Although the chakra in his body is sufficient, it is unable to cope with the opponent's close combat. This resulted in him being unable to perform several of his physical skills, and could only be kicked like a ball. Secondly, he has too few ninjutsu, both offensively and defensively. Even if his chakra is abundant, it will have no effect without ninjutsu. A mere fireball technique cannot defeat the enemy. I have to say that I am lucky enough. If the man in black had used ninjutsu from the beginning, I would have died long ago. And killing the man in black in the end was also a matter of luck, even I didn't think of it. It seems that in the future we will have to focus on picking up ninjutsu and physical fitness, or nintaijutsu will also work. This way my chakra is no longer a decoration. While deciding on the key development directions for the future, Chen Tian remembered that there seemed to be a big explosion after the death of the man in black, so he immediately opened the system panel to check it out. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 26, Speed, 27, Physique, 23, Spirit, 26, Chakra, 1010, Talent, Space Talent LV3, Taijutsu, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4, Ninjutsu, Go Fireball Technique LV5, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV4, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV3, Substitute Technique LV6. The four-dimensional attributes such as strength and speed all have an increase of 1 or 2 points, but what is really important is the Earth Flow Wall and Earth Dragon Bullet. AB level ninjutsu and AC level ninjutsu, which greatly enriched Chenshin's attack methods. He. For a moment, Chen Tian smiled like a fool. The patients and family members passing by outside the house glanced at him with strange eyes, thinking about whether to call a doctor for this silly boy. It's no wonder that Chen Tian is so happy. This sudden battle left Chen Tian with a body of majestic chakra but couldn't use it. Don't be too frustrated. But with these two ninjutsu and the substitution technique, combined with his chakra, it was enough for Chenshin to jump from a ninja school student to an elite chunin. Now let me fight the man in black again. It's still unclear who will win and who will lose. Clenching his fist hard, Chen Tian was full of confidence. Bang! Kushina entered the ward and saw Chenshin's silly smile. She was immediately relieved and slapped him on the forehead and said, "What are you laughing at? You almost died, you know." As she spoke, Kushina's eyes began to turn red, and tears began to sparkle in her crystal eyes. Then, as if he was afraid of hurting Chen Tian, he gently rubbed Chen Tian's forehead with his right hand. The sudden attack instantly interrupted Chen Tian's silly smile and brought him back to his senses. Looking at the tears flashing in Kushina's eyes, Chen Tian's heart softened and he said, "I'm fine, I don't even have any wounds." After saying that, Chen Tian even stretched out his arm to show it to Kushina. "Shua, how are you, Xiaoshan?" Suddenly, a figure appeared in the ward, and he was heard before anyone arrived. He didn't even have a clear look at Minato's appearance before his concerned voice rang out. After explaining and promising not to go to dangerous places in the future, Kushina and Minato reluctantly let Chen Tian go. Minato even felt at ease after he specially placed a Flying Thunder God mark on Chen Tian's body. Under the protection of the future 4th Hokage and the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Chenshin returned home in a swaggering manner. "Originally, I was planning to find a publisher today, but now I can only put it away." After sending Chenshin home, Minato went to the Hokage building. He has already asked Chen Tian about the previous matter, and now he has to report to the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Minato and Kushina were also shocked after learning that Chenshin had killed an elite Chunin alone. But after knowing the process, I couldn't help but laugh and cry. The man in black was unlucky enough to die from a ninjutsu like the fireball that had never killed anyone. Under Minato's power, all subsequent matters will be handled by him and will have nothing to do with Chen Tian. He does not have to face the inquiries and investigations of the Anbu. After arriving at the Hokage's office, Minato did not hide anything and truthfully told Sarutobi Hiruzen everything. "Morning sky." Taking a puff of cigarette, Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured. Just by describing it, he had already realized what was wrong with Chenshin. It is not an easy task to kill a Chunin alone at the age of 5. Although luck accounts for the majority of it, releasing a dozen fireballs at the age of 5 is real. A dozen or so powerful fireball techniques can already be regarded as Chunin, and Chenshin's chakra has not been used up yet. When Chenshin grows up, how strong will he be after he has learned enough ninjutsu? I don't know about Hiruzen Sarutobi, but he should be able to compete with the 1st generation master. While the 3rd generation was thinking, Danzo in the route also received news from his subordinates and knew all of Chenshin's achievements. "You mean he released more than a dozen fireball techniques in a row, and the chakra hasn't been exhausted yet?" Looking at the subordinates who came to report, Danzo knew that it was impossible for them to lie to him, but he still couldn't help but doubt. He has never seen geniuses before. The Konoha Sannin, Hitaki Tsukumo, Hitaki Kakashi and others are all geniuses, but have you ever seen that 5-year-old with so much chakra? Even the ninja Shira Uchiha Madara did not have such a huge chakra when he was 5 years old. It is estimated that only the 1st generation of adults can achieve this level. The root member who came to report did not even raise his head and said emotionlessly, "Yes." "Ha ha ha, not bad, not bad." In the gloomy underground base, Danzo couldn't help laughing, and then said to himself, "Such a good seedling must be cultivated from the roots." In fact, the chakra of the Jinchuriki is much larger than that of the morning sky, but they cannot use it as they wish. Moreover, the chakra of the tailed beasts will interfere with their own chakra, making it very difficult for them to learn to use ninjutsu. But Chenshin does not have such a flaw. As long as he learns enough ninjutsu, he can have strong combat power at any time. When Danzo was determined to get Chen Tian, the 3rd Hokage was also thinking about this issue. Especially since Chenshin is still Minato's younger brother, and Minato is about to take office as the 4th Hokage, who knows if he will be able to suppress Minato by then. However, after thinking about it, Sandai suppressed the problem. He was now riding a tiger and had no other choice. After being escorted home by Kushina and Minato, Chenshin was forced to the bed. It was not until the ninja school started 2 days later that Chenshin was able to leave the house. The busy Minato also took the time to send morning registrations with Kushina. "Good morning Minato Junin." Did Minato Junin send his younger brother to school? Minato Junin. Along the way down, Chen Tian finally saw how high Minato's prestige was now. People all over the street greeted Minato one after another. After a while, Chen Tian and others arrived at the ninja school. Chen Tian looked around and saw no characters from the original work. Within a few minutes, Minato took him to find a Chunin teacher. After pushing Chenshin forward, he said, "Teacher Hariyama, I will leave this child Chenshin to you." After saying hello, Minato and Kushina left first. It was really difficult to deal with the enthusiastic crowd. When Chen Tian saw Minato's face, his smile froze. "Classmate Chenshin, the entrance test is about to begin now, and you have to come with us." Teacher Hariyama tried his best to speak to Chenshin in a gentle tone, but the hideous scars on his face made his smile even more terrifying. This expression can scare a little girl to tears. Chen Tian cursed in his heart, but he replied very obediently, "Okay, Teacher Yuenshin." Within a few minutes, Yuenshin brought Chenshin to the practice field inside the school. Quiet. The roaring voice of a wild bear suddenly stunned the noisy children, and everyone's eyes were fixed on Yuenshin. Seeing this, Hariyama nodded with satisfaction and said, "Now let's start the entrance test. Everyone will run 500 laps around the playground. You have 5 minutes to prepare." Hearing this, Chenshin instantly jumped off the platform and started warming up on the playground. Is he the child adopted by Lord Minato? That's him. I really don't know why Minato-sama would adopt him. He's just a civilian orphan. Minato-sama will soon become Hokage, and he will be Hokage-sama's younger brother. The test will start soon, we must give him a blow. The children looked at Chen Tian with sour eyes, eager to prove that they were much better than Chen Tian right away. The news that Minato is about to become the 4th Hokage has spread throughout Konoha. After Minato becomes the Hokage, Chenshin's status will immediately be different. Let alone most of the children from ordinary families, even the children of the Uchiha and Hyuga families are a little jealous. Chenshin heard what these people said word for word, but he was not angry. An orphan suddenly became one of the most noble people in Konoha, which even Chen Tian himself would find a bit distasteful. However, understanding is still understanding. Chenshin decided to go all out in the subsequent tests to let them know why. Okay, now everyone returns to their positions and the test officially begins. The children stood sparsely at their seats, and Minato, Kushina and others were watching on the stage, including the 3rd Hokage and other senior Konoha officials. Suddenly, a one-eyed dragon wearing black clothes and looking like a member of the Black Society came to the high platform. "Danzo, why are you here?" Sandai asked curiously when he saw the person coming. Danzo had almost never come to attend the entrance ceremony. The sun was really shining in the west today. The war has consumed too much power from the roots. Let me see if there are any good seedlings that can replenish the power of the roots. Danzo directly characterized the matter in one sentence, and regardless of what others thought, he focused on Chen Tian. Chenshin, who was getting ready on the playground, suddenly felt his hair standing on end, as if he had been stared at by some ferocious beast. When he turned his head to look, he immediately saw Danzo's greedy eyes, as if he wanted to swallow him whole. Gulu. Swallowing hard, Chen Tian hurriedly turned his head and kept comforting himself. It's okay, it's okay. If Danzo dares to hit his attention, Kushina will dare to release the Kyuubi and hit the root. Quote. Ready, run. At this moment, Teacher Yuenshin gave the command, and hundreds of children rushed out immediately. Chenshin also unleashed his full strength and reached the leading position in just a few seconds, and the distance between him and others was still widening. All the children present are 5 or 6 years old. Even if they have been trained, they are only at the level of adults. But each of Chenshin's 4-dimensional attributes is above 20 points, leading them in all aspects. Even though these children can use chakra, the chakra of Chenshin is incomparable to them. While running, Chen Tian's eyes suddenly lit up, and he thought to himself, "System, pick up the card." That's right, while running, a white card with a tempting light suddenly appeared in front of Chen Tian's eyes. I don't know which one of the hundreds of children dropped it. White card adds 1 to physical constitution. Discovering an unexpected gain, Chen Tian gave up his previous idea of finishing the fastest, adjusted his speed to be 1 lap ahead, and kept picking up cards. The probability of dropping cards during exercise is small, but if hundreds of people exercise together, the probability is not small. White cards increase speed by 1. The white card adds 1 to the physical constitution. White cards add 1 to strength. Ha ha ha, it seems that going to school is the wisest decision. Seeing his attributes rising continuously, Chen Tian shamelessly took the credit for this on himself. Even though Chen Tian deliberately lowered his speed, the 500 laps were still completed quickly. What kind of pervert is this guy? He didn't even shed a drop of sweat. Not to mention sweating, he didn't even pant, and he wasn't tired at all after running 500 laps. A group of children who were dissatisfied with Chen Tian staggered to rest on the ground, gritting their teeth as they looked at Chen Tian, who was not blushing and out of breath. Chen Tianxi was too lazy to pay attention to their gazes. At this time, he was admiring his attribute panel. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 29, Speed, 52, Physique, 50, Spirit, 27, Chakra, 10-12, Talent, Space Talent LV3, Taijutsu, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4, Ninjutsu, Go Fireball Technique LV5, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV4, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV3, Substitute Technique LV6. Speed and physical fitness have more than doubled, and both have exceeded 50 points. Now even without using chakra, Chenshin's physical body is enough to fight ordinary genin. For a while, Chen Tian was quite pleased with these little kids swaying around, but when he saw the looks of those lowly girls, his face immediately turned cold again. He originally thought that Danzo's gaze was scary enough, but now the gazes of these were so hot that they almost set Chenshin's clothes on fire. If this is giving them a good look, why not pounce on them immediately? The children's performance was all seen by everyone on the high platform, so Chen Tian couldn't hide it from them even if he didn't use all his strength. Sarutobi, I want the child who wins first place. The roots are the most suitable place for his development. Hearing Danzo's words, everyone looked at him as if they were a fool. Chenshin's name has long been spread among the upper echelons of Konoha. What are you pretending to do? Moreover, he is the younger brother adopted by the 4th generation and a die-hard supporter of the 3rd generation. How could he give it to you? Want to eat shit? What is surprising is that when Sandai heard Danzo's words, he did not immediately object. Instead, he sat there and pondered. You're dreaming. Kushina exploded on the spot, her red hair flashed automatically, and she threatened, if you dare to take Xiaoshan's idea, I will remove the roots for you. Kushina, calm down. Minato stepped forward and held Kushina's jade hand, turned to Danzo and said coldly, I have my own arrangements for my younger brother's development, so you don't need to worry about it, Danzo-sama. Hearing the words of the two people, Danzo's face was extremely ugly. He didn't expect that only 2 months later, Minato and Kushina would actually confront him for such an orphan. However, he still did not give up, but set his sights on the 3rd generation. It was precisely because he knew Sandai's concern that he spoke at this time. I will arrange the future of this child myself, Danzo, don't think too much about it, you can choose 2 of the remaining ones to join the route. Seeing the attitudes of Minato and Kushina, the 3rd generation spoke slowly. HMPH, Sarutobi, you will regret it. Danzo's face turned completely green, and he secretly cursed the 3rd generation for being indecisive. Obviously he wanted to suppress Minato's power so that he could secretly occupy Minato's position as Hokage, but at this time he actually let go of such an opportunity. Morning Tien is not strong now, but he is only 5 years old. When he is 15, let's see how you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, will end up. Alas, looking at Danzo's leaving figure, the 3rd generation also sighed. He did not expect Minato and Kushina's attitude to be so determined, otherwise he would have agreed to Danzo's request. As long as he can weaken Minato's power, he will do it without sparing any effort. This can be seen from the fact that the 3 guards of Minato in the original work are only Chunin. Chen Tian naturally didn't know about these things, but from the unpredictable expressions of several people, Chen Tian had some guesses. Now I would like to invite the 3rd generation to speak. Seeing that everyone was almost resting, Yuan Shan immediately called everyone together. Congratulations to everyone for joining the ninja school. From today on, you are a preparatory ninja. From now on. Sandai's speech was like an old lady's foot wrap to Chen Tian's ears. It was so smelly and long that the listeners felt drowsy. Wherever the leaves are flying, the fire will continue to grow. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. After a full 2 hours, the speech came to an end, and Chen Tian couldn't wait to applaud. Paw, 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 paw. Under a series of applause, Sandai left with a gentle and kind smile, gaining a lot of fans. But this does not include Chenshin. Okay, let me announce the class list next. Elite Class, Chen Tian, Uchiha Kei, Hyuga Sento, Akamichi Dinkai, Nara Shikaku, a total of 28 people. Ordinary Class, Passenger A, Passenger B, Passenger C, 33 people in total. Ordinary Class 2. Except for the Elite Class, Chen Tian was too lazy to listen. As expected, it was similar to what he had guessed. Most of the Elite Class were children of family members, with only 2 or 3 commoner children. After announcing the class list, Teacher Haruyama announced the disbandment and came to school on time the next day. After knowing his class placement, Chen Tian turned around and left the school, walking towards Minato and Kushina who were waiting for him at the school gate. I'm going out first. After returning home, Chenshin took out the prepared forbearance to the sky, and left the house. Taking advantage of the time today, he planned to find a publishing house to publish his book. Konoha Publishing House. Finding his favorite publishing house, Chenshin walked in with great swagger, expressing himself as the younger brother of the 4th Hokage in the future. If you want to take advantage of these vampires, Chen Tian can't do it anyway, you can only rely on the power of Minato and Kushina. Little friend, what book do you want to buy? I am the younger brother of Konoha Junin Namikaze Minato, and I am here to publish a book. Putting on the posture of a rich second generation, Chen Tian threw the notebook in his hand into the boss's arms with a pop sound. He had found out clearly before coming here that this publishing house had a ninja background, so it often bullied and exploited authors. So the opponent must be frightened, otherwise Chen Tian doubts whether he will be able to get 1/10 of the royalties earned by enduring the sky. Okay, we'll make arrangements now. Hearing this, the boss had no doubts at all and agreed tremblingly, without even discussing the issue of royalties. Behind him was just an ordinary Junin, unable to compete with Minato. And no one in Konoha dared to pretend to be Minato's relative. He is not afraid of Minato himself because Minato is reasonable. The boss is really afraid of Kushina. A few years ago, because Jiraiya gave Minato a copy of Intimate Paradise, Kushina was so angry that he demolished his place into ruins and warned him not to continue publishing. Wait a minute, let's talk about the royalties first. Chen Tian stretched out his hand to stop the boss who was about to leave with the book, and said, I won't bully you. I will get 70% of the royalties, how about you get 30%? Okay, it's settled. The boss didn't dare to have any objections, so he immediately sent Chen Tian out of the door with the contract signed by Chen Tian. Chapter 11. In the blink of an eye, Chen Tian has spent 3 months in the ninja school. Today, the entire ninja school is on holiday because today is the day when Namikaze Minato takes office. With the attention of the whole village, Minato wore a godlike robe and began his speech. Chenshin didn't listen. Instead, he glanced back and forth among the crowd to see if there were any cards that could be picked up. Suddenly, a pair of cold eyes collided with Chenshin, and when he looked closely, he saw that it was Orochimaru. After glancing at Chen Tian and then at Minato who was giving a speech, Orochimaru quietly turned around and left. Minato becomes the 4th Hokage, and Orochimaru's defection is not far away. Looking at Orochimaru's leaving figure, Chen Tian felt a little regretful. Although he wanted to prevent Orochimaru from defecting, he didn't have enough strength and had to give up. After a busy day, Minato officially became the 4th Hokage, and Chen Tian's status immediately rose a lot. After the inauguration ceremony, Chen Tian's life once again returned to peace. Every day he went to ninja school and home, at 2 o'clock in one line. Ninpo Shukyo has been put on sale, and it can give Chen Tian 1,000,000 taels every month, which is the sales volume of Konoha. When sold to the land of fire, the land of earth, etc. in the future, the income will increase. In addition to these, Chen Tian thought of his own space talent and wanted to develop a portable space in fantasy novels. This inspiration comes from Kushina. When he entered the Nine-Tails space by mistake, Kushina sealed the Nine Tails in her body, and there was a dark space where the Nine Tails was imprisoned. This is obviously an independent space, otherwise the Nine Tails must be in chakra form, not a fox. It's just that Kushina's space cannot be entered physically. It is obviously not perfect enough to store items. Based on this idea, Chenshin began to learn the sealing technique with Kushina. But after a period of study, Chen Tian found that his talent for sealing techniques was very low. He didn't even learn one sealing technique. Instead, he picked up several sealing techniques. From now on, every time I learn Morning Sky, I will ask Kushina to show it many times to pick up the cards dropped by Kushina. It took a full year, and after Kushina demonstrated it tens of thousands of times, Chenshin learned most of the sealing techniques, and then began to build his own portable space. The first thing is to choose the location of the space. For example, the place where Kushina and future Naruto imprisoned the Nine Tails is the navel. After Chen Tian conducted some research, he decided to place the seal in the palm of his right hand so that he could use it at any time. Subsequently, with the help of Kushina, he set a Bagua seal on his palm, forming a space the same as the Nine Tails space. After completing this step, Chenshin added the part of the yin seal that controls chakra input to the Bagua seal, so that the space can be opened and closed at any time. As long as the chakra is transmitted to the palm of the right hand, it can be turned on and off with a single thought. After completing this second step, the remaining third step is to use your own space talent to open up a small space in the Bagua seal. This part requires Minato's help. The Flying Thunder God can travel through space. Chen Tian has not picked up the Flying Thunder God for so long, so he can only let Minato help. With the help of the space that was folded when Flying Thunder God traveled through, Chenshin used his space talent to control it in time to prevent the space from returning to its original state. Then immediately seal the prepared Bagua seal, and use the sealing technique to fix the space. This ninjutsu is completed. Ha 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 ha. Chen Tian, who was already 6 years old, looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, saying excitedly, "My ninjutsu is finally completed. Let's see what happens." Kushina was even more excited than Chen Tian, with a blush on her pretty face. Even Minato is a little impatient. If Chenshin's ninjutsu is successful, its value will be no less than that of Jayatu Tensai and Flying Thunder God. If a war breaks out again, Konoha won't need to send supplies to each other. It would be better if everyone brings their own. Looking at the excited two people, Chen Tian smiled and said, okay, I'll take a look right now." After agreeing, Chenshin transferred chakra to the palm of his right hand and opened up the space in his pocket. He didn't know if living creatures could survive inside, so he could only use his space talent to sense it. It's almost 100 cubic meters in size. Although there is air inside, it cannot circulate. Once it is consumed, there will be no replenishment, and no living things can survive. Besides, the switch is perfectly designed and can be turned on and off at any time with just a thought. And it consumes very little chakra, about the same as a huge fireball. While sensing, Chen Tian explained the characteristics of the portable space bit by bit. Minato stood aside and used a ninjutsu scroll to record everything Chen Tian said, and wrote the word Super S level Forbidden Jutsu at the end. Kushina held onto Chenshin's head and kept rubbing it back and forth in front of her chest, exclaiming, "Shaoshin, you are so powerful. You created a Super S level ninjutsu when you were only 6 years old. I'm tired of Fang Kaiwu, so I'm going to patch it up. Let me go first, I can't breathe." Struggling feebly for a long time, until Kushina calmed down, Chenshin was freed from the clutches of the devil. Staring at Kushina fiercely, Chen Tian jumped up and patted Minato's knee, saying, "Stop being silly, I feel like asking Kushina to help you get a portable space. You can fly Thunder God, you don't need my help, and the space it's definitely bigger than mine." The size of the space at any time depends on the strength of the Bagua seal and the distance traveled by the Flying Thunder God. The further the Flying Thunder God moves, the larger the folding space will be. As long as the Bagua seal is strong enough, the space that can be sealed is theoretically infinite. But in fact, the Bagua seal is so powerful that it can only cover a space of 500 cubic meters at most. No matter how big it is, it cannot be sealed. In addition to this point, if you want to set up a portable space, a powerful space talent is a guarantee. Whether it is Flying Thunder or controlling the space folded by Flying Thunder God, space talent is required. Even if these conditions are met, powerful sealing techniques are still needed. So far, only Chen Tian and Minato can create a portable space. Apart from this, even Kushina cannot do it because she has no space talent and cannot control the folded space of the Flying Thunder God. Okay. After responding, Minato and Kushina began to get busy. The two of them arranged it on Minato's left hand according to the order that Chen Tian used before. After a while, the two of them stopped what they were doing. Chen Tian saw Minato carefully sensing it, and said excitedly to himself and Kushina, "Success, more than 400 cubic meters." When Minato uses Flying Thunder God himself, the folding space is naturally larger than that of Chenshin. When Chenshin picks up Flying Thunder God in the future, he can continue to expand his portable space. After calming down, Minato asked, "Shaoshin, you created this ninjutsu. It's up to you whether you want to hand it over to the village or not. You can do whatever you want, no one else can learn it anyway, but it's best not to let the third generation and Danzo see it." Chen Tian waved his hand and ran back to his room, rummaging through the boxes and cabinets to put the 30 million taels he had earned in the past year into his anytime space. This is the head of an asthma, what if I'm not careful? Today, Chenshin is 6 years old. Although he has focused on developing portable space during this year, the four-dimensional attributes of his body have not been left behind. Whether it is speed or strength, both have made great progress. Host, Chenshin, Strength, 108. Speed, 123. Physique, 119. Spirit, 106. Chakra, 2048. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Taijutsu, Shuriken Basic LV10, Full Level Basic Taijutsu LV10, Full Level Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4, Portable Space LV1. Ninjutsu, LV6 of the Fireball Technique, LV5 of the Earth Flow Wall Technique, LV5 of the Earth Dragon Bullet Technique, and LV10 of the Substitute Technique Full Level. Looking at the relatively luxurious attribute panel, the smile on Chen Tian's lips gradually became abnormal. Even without chakra, Chenshin's physical fitness can compete with weaker Chunin, which is almost equivalent to Rock Lee during the Chunin exam. Shuriken and basic taijutsu are practiced every day in the ninja school. Once the proficiency is reached, the level will be full. Even other ninjutsu, after this year of training, the level has been improved. The performance is that the sealing speed is faster, the power is greater, and the consumption is less. That's almost it. If you encounter a weaker Jonin, you can definitely win. Clenching his fist, Chen Tian felt that his body was full of power. Making up her mind, Chen Tian immediately went out and came to the largest ninja shop in Konoha, which was Tenten's home. However, she was only 1 year old now. "Give me 10,000 detonating charms and 1,000 shurikens. Come on, I'll prepare it for you right away." Hearing Chen Tian's request, the boss immediately grinned and his eyes were filled with little stars. One detonating talisman costs 500 taels. 10,000 talisman is equivalent to 5 million taels. Including the shuriken, the total is 7 million taels. Even if it is the largest ninja shop in Konoha, he rarely does such a big business. "Well, we only have 8,000 detonating talismans left here, do you think?" Chenshin was looking around, and the boss came to Chenshin awkwardly with his hands folded. "It's okay." Chen Tian gave the boss an understanding look and continued, "Just bring them all to me." "Okay, wait a moment." The boss responded, and within 3 or 2 minutes, he handed 2 storage scrolls to Chen Tian. After purchasing enough ninja tools, Chenshin went to Akamichi's barbecue shop and packed up 1,000,000 taels of barbecue, all of which were stored in the anytime space. The air inside has been exhausted by the morning sky, and now it is in a vacuum state, which can completely ensure that the barbecue does not deteriorate. As early as yesterday, Chen Tian had asked for leave by virtue of his status as the Hokage's younger brother, and now he was trying to find a way to leave Konoha. He has already made inquiries in the past few days. Kakashi and Hirano Lin are about to go to the Kingdom of Water to perform a mission. Minato's assurance is definitely accurate enough. It was this mission that led to the death of Hirano Lin and the blackening of Uchiha Obito. Chenshin must stop it. Even if it's not for Obito, the 3-tailed cards alone are worth a trip in the morning. So he prepared everything and was waiting for this opportunity. After a while, Chenshin used the loophole he had explored from Minato to leave Konoha, and walked happily on the road to the Kingdom of Water alone. In Konoha, Kushina, who had asked Chenshin to eat many times, had already entered Chenshin's room. As soon as she entered, she saw the letter prepared on the table. Kushina, I have something to do when I leave Konoha. If I encounter danger, just input chakra into the Flying Thunder God Kunai and ask Brother Minato to support me. You don't have to worry. I will be back in 10 days at most. You don't have to come to me. Wah wah wah. Reading word by word, Kushina's bright red hair moved automatically, and she gritted her teeth and said, You brat, how dare you run away from home, you are so impatient with life. Holding the letter, he angrily sat down on the sofa, slammed the letter on the table, and waited for Minato to come back. Although she was very angry, Kushina was not too worried, because she knew Chen Tian's strength. But this anger must be vented, and Minato can only bear it. Not long after Chenshin left, Kakashi and Hirano Lin appeared at the gate of Konoha. Their trip was to go to the Kingdom of Water to perform a mission. I wonder where Heiju is now. Chen Tian thought a little tiredly after looking at the scenery of the Land of Fire for too long. Suddenly, Chen Tian rolled his eyes, a faint smile appeared on his face, and murmured, It's interesting. Then I'll play with you. Immediately, Chenshin walked to the foot of a tall and strong tree as if nothing had happened, and walked slowly over with his head lowered. Boom, boom. On the top of the dense tree, a shuriken suddenly shot towards the morning sky, with a detonating talisman wrapped around it. Ha ha ha, you can't bear it anymore. An accelerated jump, the space quietly opened at any time, and a shuriken also wrapped with a detonating talisman was thrown out by Chen Tian. How can it be? Boom. Under the perfect level of shuriken technique, the shuriken thrown by Chenshin not only resisted the opponent's attack, but also took the opponent's shuriken back with him. Two shurikens tied with detonating talismans flew over at the same time. The enemy only had time to scream in surprise before being completely overwhelmed by the detonating talismans. It's so beautiful. Looking at the burning tree, a blur of confusion flashed in Chenshin's eyes. Then he left the place without looking back. With two detonating talismans, he was just a genin, and there was no other possibility except death. As early as in the Hokage's office, Chen Tian had seen countless tasks of dealing with this kind of ninja, and he was very familiar with it. These ninjas are not considered ninjas. They just learned a few tricks from somewhere, and they go around the Land of Fire robbing homes and houses. And the quantity is so huge that it cannot be processed completely. We, the common people, are so happy today. Experiencing the power of shuriken throwing at the perfect level, I walked in the wind in the morning, humming a song that no one could understand. Just a basic shuriken is so powerful. In the future, when other advanced ninjutsu are completed, how beautiful will the power be? Forget it, let's find a hot spring hotel to rest today. Anyway, Kakashi and the others set off later than me, so there's no rush. Seeing the town appearing in front of him, Chenshin's eyes suddenly lit up. Having been in Naruto world for more than a year, he has never experienced what a hot spring hotel is like. It took 3 days for Chenshin to arrive at the main city of the Kingdom of Water. The mission of Kakashi and his 2 men is to come here to detect anomalies in the Kingdom of Water. Although Chen Tian knew exactly why, he couldn't explain the source of the information. Besides, there must be a lot of cards obtained from such a battle. Here we come. Chenshin's eyes suddenly lit up as he was walking back and forth at the city gate, and he recognized Kakashi and Yuan Yelin dressed as civilians. That iconic hair really shouldn't be too conspicuous. I remember that in the original book, it was the ninjas from the Kingdom of Water who kidnapped Yuan Lin and then lured Cassie to rescue her. Then just follow Yuan Lin, otherwise it will be easy to be discovered by Kakashi. Compared to Kakashi who is already a Jonin, Chenshin prefers Hirano Lin who is only a Chunin, so the chance of being discovered is even less. Just like the city gate, Kakashi and Yuan Yelin split up. Kakashi went to the tavern, while Yuan Yelin wandered around the street casually. It should be them. Looking at the 3 people walking out of the corner, Chen Tian secretly suppressed his own chakra fluctuations. The leader of these 3 people is a Junin, and the remaining 2 are Chunin. This lineup is not good enough to deal with Kakashi and Chenshin, but it is enough for Yuan Yelin. Should we stop it? Chen Tian thought as he watched the three of them approach Yuan Lin as if nothing had happened. Seeing that the trio had approached Yuan Lin, Chen Tian shook his head. Forget it, after the three tails are sealed, let Minato take the three tails back to Konoha. Do it. Suddenly, the trio of Water Shadow Village suddenly broke out. The cloth with medicine in the hand of the Junin covered Hirano Lin's mouth and nose, and at the same time controlled her actions. Before Yuan Yelin could react, he had successfully stunned her. Retreat and take her to the adults quickly. As they spoke, the trio had already left with Yuan Yelin. Most people on the street did not notice their actions, and even if a few people saw them, they did not dare to say anything. Chen Tian carefully observed the surroundings, but did not find Heiju's existence, but he knew that Heiju must be nearby. Forget it, just wait and see. The plan went smoothly, and Chen Tian staggered away from here to taste the seafood in the Kingdom of Water. Even if Uchiha Madara is faster, it will take at least a day to seal the three tails and seduce Kakashi, so Chenshin is not in a hurry. At this time in Konoha, Minato has been repaired by Kushina more than once. Tell me, what should we do now? Slapping the table hard, Kushina's eyes widened angrily, and she asked Minato angrily. Minato smiled helplessly and explained. Don't worry, others can't notify me through the Flying Thunder God, but Chen Tian, who has the space talent, can. Although he can't send a message, it's enough to let me know that he is in danger. While talking, Minato picked up the letter left by Chen Tian and read it. He looked over it several times, but Minato didn't find anything. Until he turned the letter over, he saw small letters written in the corner of the letter. When I notify you, bring Kushina with you. Kushina, look quickly, there are words left by Shaoshin here. Excited, Minato pulled Kushina over. Kushina was about to get angry, but when she heard the words left by Chen Tian, she forced herself to hold back her temper. You stay tight and we'll go together when there's news. Kushina immediately made her decision. Kushina could not leave Konoha before, but now Minato is the Hokage. Although there is a third generation behind him who controls most of the power, the restriction on Kushina has been relaxed. After some discussion, the two decided to do what Chen Tian said. The two of them knew Chenshin's unusual wisdom best, and they didn't believe that Chenshin would harm them, so neither of them hesitated at all. The sun rose and the moon set, and the day passed in the blink of an eye. Chenshin stretched out and walked out of the hot spring tavern. Recalling the gentle massage given by the young lady last night, I still have some aftertaste. If this happened in Konoha, Kushina would definitely break his legs. After thinking about it, Chen Tian walked away with his short legs of 50 centimeters and thought about the plain 15 kilometers west of the city. This is the spot he spent several hours on last night. Before setting off, Chen Tian even changed into a beggar's clothes to prevent Heiju from discovering him. With his current strength, he is still unable to detect Heiju's prying eyes, so he can only hide it by pretending to be a little beggar. All the way to the destination, there was no one here yet. Chen Tian came to the back of a small hill alone. He took out a dark steamed bun from his pocket, held it in his hand as if it were precious, and then quietly waited for the actors to take their seats. Without letting Chen Tian wait long, dozens of water ninjas chased Yuan Yilin and ran over from a distance. Looking at the scene in front of him, Chen Tian almost laughed out loud because it was so funny. Despite the menacing appearance of dozens of people, they are all genin, as weak as a chicken. Lin. Suddenly, a figure rushed out of the jungle in the distance, and it was Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi's face was full of anxiety and anger, and his speed was beyond the reach of Chenshin. Rage. During the sprint, the blood chakra eye in Kakashi's left eye began to rotate crazily, and the blue thunder in his right hand gathered together. Where Kakashi passed by, a bottomless ravine quietly emerged. In the blink of an eye, he rushed into the crowd. They were just a group of genin. They were no different from watermelons in front of Kakashi. A dozen of them died in an instant. Let me go, there is actually a hidden figure here. Chenshin suddenly saw a Junin chasing him from a distance, and he suddenly became frightened. He had not discovered this person before. What would happen if he were to attack him secretly? At the moment when Chen Tian was stunned, the field had changed. Yuan Yelin stared at the Reikiri in Kakashi's hand. This is the time. At that moment, Chen Tian used his space talent to put chakra into the shuriken. The next moment, the figures of Minato and Kushina appeared in front of him. Go and save people, Chenshin shouted at Minato before he could explain too much. Because Hirano Lin had already rushed towards Kakashi, no one except Minato could stop her. Minato didn't waste any time. He just checked the current situation at a glance. A flying thunder came to Kakashi's side, grabbed Kakashi's arm, and reversed the direction of Reikiri. The other hand kept Yuan Yellen and protected her. After Minato started taking action, Chen Tian no longer paid attention to the situation on the battlefield. He had enough confidence in Minato. At this time, his two eyes kept moving around, looking for the figure of Uchiha Obito, but Chenshin didn't find it until Minato rescued the two of them. In a jungle not far from Chen Tian, Uchiha Obito stood blankly on the spot. Afei, let me go quickly, I'm going to find Lin and teacher Minato. Obito, your current situation is not suitable for going out. Let's go back to find Mr. Ban first. As he spoke, Afei controlled Obito's body and began to retreat. Because he was completely wrapped up in Afei, Obito had no right to resist. No matter how hard he struggled, he could only watch as he got further and further away from Minato and the others. He kept cursing secretly in his heart, but Obito couldn't even open his mouth to speak. On the other side, Black Zetsu gritted his teeth and said, how is this possible? Namikaze Minato is clearly in Konoha, how could he appear here? The 1,000-year-old screen wall is indeed a 1,000-year-old screen wall. Even so, Heizetsu instantly adjusted his mentality and immediately headed towards the cave where Uchiha Madara was. These people's hiding methods are too powerful. Chen Tian has been observing for a long time and still found nothing. I wonder if Obito saw this scene. He shook his head slightly and thought, forget it, he should have seen it. It doesn't matter even if he didn't. Then he took Kushina to Minato, Kakashi and others. By the time the two of them arrived, Minato had already killed all the remaining dozen genin. Minato-sensei, there is a monster inside me. It will destroy Konoha when I return to Konoha. Kill me. Finding that she didn't hit Leiki, Yuan Yellen immediately hugged her head and cried. Chenshin couldn't help but feel a little funny, this kind of lie could only be deceived by a child. Then he turned to Kushina and said, the people from Kurikage village sealed the three tails in Lin's body, but the seal is unstable. Sister Kushina, please help reseal it. After Chen Tian finished speaking, Minato and Kushina suddenly realized why Yuan Yellen was like this. At that moment, the two of them couldn't laugh or cry, and comforted them. It's okay, the one in your body is just a tailed beast, and your wife, Kushina, also has one in her body, and it's stronger than yours, isn't it okay? As she spoke, Kushina released a breath of 9 tails in cooperation. Really? Yuano Lin stopped crying and looked at Kushina pitifully and asked. Kushina nodded gently and said, it's true, and it's been for many years. Now I'll give you a good seal, and everything will be fine. Speaking, Kushina put her hand on Hirano Lin's belly and shouted, Bagua seal. This is the most suitable sealing technique among Kushina society's sealing techniques for sealing tailed beasts. Even if Hirano Lin is not a Uzumaki clan member, she can still seal it. During Naruto's time, among all the Chiriki, only Naruto was of Uzumaki bloodline. Didn't the others also become Jinchuriki successfully? Now the sealing technique on Lin is obviously more advanced than the sealing techniques in other villages, so she can naturally become a Jinchuriki. This is also the premise of the morning plan. Brother Minato, Sister Kushina, since the Mizukage is willing to give the 3 tails to us, then we can reluctantly accept it. Morden Tien said a little playfully that after becoming a Jinchuriki, the tailed beast will die after leaving the body. Minato's character will never do this. This also means that the 3 tails must belong to Konoha, even if there is a war. As for the old men such as Sandai, it's okay not to interfere. If they dare to interfere with Chenshin, they will break their claws. Because just now, Chen Tian picked up 2 cards, namely Leiki and the Flying Thunder God that he had been thinking about. Would it be possible to fuse Reikiri and Flying Thunder God? Fusion. The S-level ninjutsu Reikiri has been successfully fused, and the S-level Forbidden Jutsu Flying Thunder God has been successfully fused. Although he was extremely excited, Chen Tian did not check the system panel. Instead, he said to Minato and Kushina, we take away the three tails, and Kurikage village will definitely not give up, so we still have to be careful. This place is really far away from Konoha, and even Minato doesn't have the ability to bring so many people back. Chen Tian had just picked up the Flying Thunder God. He didn't even have a mark in Konoha, so he had to fight his way back. Minato and Kushina nodded seriously at the same time. They also knew the seriousness of the matter. At this time, Minato, Kushina, Kakashi and Hirano Lin all had questions, but they tacitly agreed not to ask them. If you have anything to do, you can go back and talk about it later. It's better to leave now. When Chen Tian and others were preparing to leave, Heizetsu had already taken the lead and returned to Madara's base. Madara-sama, something went wrong in the mission. I don't know why Konoha's fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato appeared there, saved the girl, and ruined our plan. The first time he came out, Black Zetsu vomited all the news without saying a word, fully playing the role of Madara's dogleg. What? The originally lowered head suddenly lifted up, the three Magatama Sharingan in Madara's eyes that he didn't know belonged to was turning wildly, and the powerful aura was raging. Inform the Mizukage that the Hokage of Konoha sneaked in and stole the three tails, and let them handle it themselves. Also, find a way to brainwash Obito and don't let today's events affect our plans. After saying that, Madara seemed to have lost all his strength and suddenly collapsed on the spot. He is very old now. If the tubes on his back were not connected to the heretic demon, he would have been dead for who knows how many years. It is not easy to exude such momentum at this time. Yes, I'll do it right away. The next moment, Heizetsu's figure slowly blended into the ground, quietly going to send information to Mizukage. Not long after Heiju left, Afei returned with Obito wrapped up in his arms. After entering, Afei let go of Obito. Why don't you let me go find Rin and Minato-sensei? In anger, Obito pointed directly at Madara's nose and started questioning. Anger flashed through Madara's eyes, but he still said kindly and gently, Obito, your injuries have not recovered yet, and even your appearance has been ruined. Do you want to meet them in this state? This. After thinking about it, Obito felt that what Madara said did make sense. What if Lin is frightened when she sees her in her current state? Thinking of this, Obito immediately apologized to Madara. I misunderstood, and I'm very sorry. But I saw people from Kurikage village chasing Lin, and I want to avenge Lin. Although he comforted Uchiha Obito with his mouth, Madara was filled with great hatred in his heart. He couldn't hold on much longer, but now his plan had changed. After hearing Obito's request, Madara agreed without any hesitation, because he could not find a better Uchiha to fool than Obito. However, after Obito left, Madara and Black Zetsu discussed how to continue scheming against Yuan Yellen. This person is a necessary condition for Obito to activate the kaleidoscope. Obito will be useless unless she dies. In addition to Uchiha Madara, the third-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen in Konoha also discovered that Minato had left Konoha at this time. You have just become Hokage, and yet you dare to leave your post without permission. It seems that I will continue to manage the power of Konoha. Took a deep puff of the dry smoke. Amidst the smoke, Hiruzen Sarutobi showed a smile and found a perfect excuse for himself openly. If it weren't for the unfavorable situation of the three battles, where would the Hokage's position be? He can still work for a few more decades. Wouldn't it be better to pass the Hokage to his son after he retires? Chen Tian naturally doesn't know all this. Even if he knew it, Chen Tian wouldn't bother to pay attention to it. Wouldn't it be nice to suppress them directly after you become stronger? At this time, Chenshin and Minato were looking behind them with solemn expressions, because Kushina noticed that someone was chasing them not far away. There are 12 people in total, one is Mizukage, and there are 11 Junin. Are you waiting for them here? The powerful perception ability of the Uzumaki clan was fully utilized by Kushina, and she could detect the enemy's strength in an instant. Well, right here, with the sea in front of them, it will make them stronger. Without thinking, Minato answered Kushina. Then he said to Kakashi and Hirano Lin Chenshin, you are not strong enough yet, go hide far away and come out after we resolve the battle. As he spoke, Minato secretly sighed. Luckily Chenshin asked Kushina to come with him, otherwise even he would have run away. The Jonin doesn't matter, but the Mizukage can hold him back temporarily, and Kakashi and others may die here in the battle. Kakashi and Lin leave here together. Lin's safety depends on you. After patting Kakashi on the shoulder, Chenshin turned to Minato and said, my strength is not bad and I can guarantee my own safety. Stay, help you. After thinking for a second, Minato nodded and agreed. Although Kakashi didn't want to leave like this, he looked at Yuan Yelin beside him and had no choice but to leave. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After Kakashi left, Minato and Asuka began to prepare for battle. Several shurikens were thrown into hidden corners, with the words, Sword of Kindness, engraved on them. These are the shurikens that Minato has engraved with the Flying Thunder God technique, so that he can use the Flying Thunder God at any time. The rest are reserved for use in battle. Unlike Minato, Chen Tian hummed and ran towards the direction of the enemy, took out one detonating talisman after another from the space at any time, and buried them all in the ground. Minato and Kushina, who were behind, were dumbfounded and asked in confusion, Shaoshan, where did you get so many detonating charms? Although there is no detailed count, there are at least 1,000 or more. Haha. With an awkward smile, Chen Tian then remembered that he hadn't told the two of them yet, and then explained, I wrote the book, Enduring the Sky, so I made some money, most of which was used to buy explosive charms. Quote. Minato and Kushina were even more surprised by this statement, but there was no time for them to ask in detail at this time because the other party was already chasing them. Golden Flash Minato Namikaze. I didn't expect you to kidnap the tailed beast of our Kurikage village. Yagura, the fourth Mizukage, looked a little ugly, but considering the Junin around him, he felt confident. He said, hand over the 3 tails now, and I can let you go, otherwise we will wait for our Kurikage village and Konoha to declare war. PFF'd. Sorry, I just can't bear it anymore. Looking at Yagura's dark face, Chen Tian apologized quickly and wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. This is like saying that you can keep Minato and let you go. Are you afraid you don't know what Flying Thunder God is? HMPH, if you don't want to drink a toast or eat a fine drink, give it to me. Yakura, who was already short, became angry, like a red carrot, but his aura should not be underestimated. Even Minato's face became serious, which showed that he was still a little stressed. There are detonating symbols around us, so be careful. The moment he rushed forward, the Junin beside Yagura suddenly spoke to remind these ninjas to avoid Chenshin's detonating talisman. Water release, big explosive water wave. Water release, big explosive water wave. Water release, big explosive water wave. 11 Jonin plus cage level Yagura began to form seals at the same time, because they knew that Minato would not give them a chance to form seals after closing the distance. Instead of doing this, why not use a wave of combined ninjutsu to defeat Minato in one fell swoop? As for Chenshin and Kushina, they were ignored. Chenshin is a child who is only 6 years old, and is easily ignored by others. The news about Kushina has been hidden by Konoha and has never been exposed. Today this time, it was the first time that Kushina left Konoha after becoming a Jinchuriki. Don't even think about it. Rasengan. With a soft drink, Minato activated the shuriken he had already placed, and instantly appeared next to Yagura and others, with the Rasengan spinning crazily in his hand. The moment his right hand was sent out, Minato's figure disappeared again and appeared next to the next person, firing another Rasengan. In just a moment, 8 of the 11 Junin behind Yagura died. The remaining 3 gave up the seal in fear and left the place in a flash. The place where the 3 of them were did not have Minato's Flying Thunder God Shuriken, so they escaped with their lives. But Yagura took this opportunity to release his ninjutsu. Because he couldn't catch Minato, the big blast of water came towards Morning Sky and Kushina. Yakura wanted to use the lives of these 2 people to seduce Minato, but unfortunately he failed to calculate that Kushina's combat power was higher than Minato's. Sealing water seal. With a soft cry, Kushina's jade fingers turned repeatedly, and the turbulent waves were all sealed in a scroll by Kushina, and the crisis was resolved at once. The next moment, Minato appeared next to Kushina again, looking calmly at Yagura opposite. The reason why he was only beside Kushina was because Chenshin had rushed out at some point, but instead of fighting his opponent, he ran to the corpses. Seeing Chen Tian's movements, both Minato, Kushina and Mizukage Yagura stopped and focused their attention on him. Chenshin naturally noticed this situation, but he was too lazy to pay attention to it. Isn't it just to pick up the cards that I put so much effort into? How could you give up just because of their looks? Purple, blue, white. After a round of picking up, Chen Tian picked up a total of 18 cards. However, there was no fusion for the time being, and Chen Tian had no time to check. Because Yagura on the opposite side obviously wanted to retreat, which Chen Tian couldn't bear. How can I pick up cards if you don't fight? Moreover, Minato and Kushina will definitely win, they must him. Thinking of this, Chen Tian took the initiative decisively. Chidori, Zizizi. With a low cry, a faint blue light appeared on Chenshin's right hand, as if tens of thousands of birds were chirping. The next moment, Chen Tian's body rushed out at a terrifying speed, and instantly came to a Junin, stabbing him hard with a Chidori in his hand. The Junin never expected that a 6-year-old child like Chenshin could be so powerful. He couldn't react for a moment, so he could only turn his head and hit him with his shoulder. But a Junin is a Junin after all, and Chenshin's combat experience is really too little. After the Junin was injured, he left the place with a substitute technique, leaving only a piece of charred wood. The moment Chen Tian rushed out, Yagura, who was a cage level, naturally noticed him. Seeing Chen showing such great strength, I was suddenly shocked and wanted to kill Chen Tian. But when he was about to take action, Minato had already appeared not far away from him, staring at him eagerly. Kushina kept an eye on the remaining 2 Junin to prevent them from harming Chenshin. Water release, Water Dragon Bullet Technique, Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. The next moment, Minato and Yagura fought, and Kushina also attacked the 2 Junin. In addition to a large amount of chakra, she actually doesn't know many ninjutsu, most of which are sealing techniques. So Kushina used the 9 tails directly. 2 red tails suddenly appeared behind her, and a round ball of light appeared in front of her. Tailed Beast Jade. With a loud shout, the tailed beast in front of Kushina galloped towards the 2 Junin. Boom! The tailed beast Jade exploded the moment it approached, and the surrounding trees were uprooted one by one, and then turned into powder. The land with a radius of 400 to 500 meters turned into a large pit more than 10 meters deep, and the originally clear sky seemed to be covered with a veil. The figures of the 2 Jonins had completely disappeared from the spot, leaving not even a torn corner of their clothes. Holy crap, doesn't this power have to be so terrifying? Accidentally, he was swept away for more than 10 meters. Chen Tian was stunned at the scenery in front of him. Although I have seen the power of the tailed beast Jade in anime, it has never been so shocking to see it with my own eyes. If it weren't for the 4 or 5 cards lying quietly in the big pit, Chen Tian would have thought that these 2 people had escaped. Surprise was followed by ecstasy. A shining golden card under Kushina's feet seemed to have some magic, constantly attracting his attention. Just when Chen Tian was surprised, Kushina and Minato Yagura were actually even more surprised. Although I don't know how old Chen Tian is, he looks like he is only 5 or 6 years old. He actually killed a Junin alone. Not to mention Kushina and Minato. They have been living with Chen Tian. They knew that his chakra was huge, but they didn't expect that he was so powerful. Moreover, what Chenshin used just now was clearly the ninjutsu created by Kakashi. Why did Chenshin do it? Originally in their minds, Chenshin was like Uzumaki Naruto in the original work. His chakra was extremely powerful, but his strength was average. Unexpectedly, his strength and chakra are actually proportional, and both have reached the Jonin level. Minato was thinking about whether he should give Chen Tian a Junin certificate after returning. Chen Tian had no idea how frightened these people were. After Chidori injured the Junin, the other person accidentally stood on his detonating talisman. The next moment, a loud noise suddenly appeared, and the Jonin's body was gone. Ha ha ha, get rich, get rich. Morning turned a blind eye to Kushina and Minato's mixed doubles fight against Yagura. Instead, he ran around the battlefield with a grin on his face, picking up cards one after another. It didn't come to an end until he finally picked up the golden card dropped by Kushina. The rest is to wait for Minato and others to finish the fight, and then pick up all the cards dropped by the 3 of them. The best thing is to kill Yagura, it will definitely explode. But this is just thinking about it. Chen Tian knew very well that Minato would not do this. Had he not taken action suddenly, Minato would have let Yagura go. The next step is the happiest integration stage. Looking at the situation between Minato and Kushina Flying Dragon, Chen Tian looked at the cards. The white card adds 1 to its strength. Do you want to fuse it? The blue card is Chakra plus 10, is it fused? The purple card is Water Escape, Big Explosive Water Wave. Is it fused? The purple card is Water Escape, Water Formation Wall. Is it fused? The golden card is Tailed Beast Jade, is it fused? After checking all the more than 20 cards, Chen Tian couldn't stop smiling. Merge, all merge. After giving the order, Chenshin felt as if his brain had been hit by a sledgehammer, causing pain and numbness. Before, he was a fusion of ninjutsu and ninjutsu, so he didn't have such a big reaction. But now that so many ninjutsu are integrated at once, the amount of knowledge input into the mind is too large, which leads to such a situation. After 3 full minutes, Chenshin came back to his senses and got out of that uncomfortable state. Feeling that his body has become stronger, Chenshin expressed that he is confident and can definitely save Minato and Kushina during the Nine Tails Rebellion. Besides, now that Lin is not dead, it is not certain whether the Nine Tails Rebellion will continue. But Chen Tian didn't notice that Kakashi and Yuan Yelin came back at some point. They hid not far away and watched the entire battle. At this time, the two people's eyes were fixed on Chen Tian, their eyes full of confusion, surprise and shock. Kakashi's eyes were filled with a rare fighting spirit. Although it was fleeting, Yuan Yelin noticed it. Kakashi originally thought he was a genius. He graduated as a chunin at the age of 5 and 6, and became a jonin by the time he was 12. But what is this thing in front of me now? If I remember correctly, he was only 6 years old, so why could he already kill a jonin alone? Other than that, why does he have his own unique ninjutsu? All this puzzled Kakashi, and he even thought, if I had been so powerful at that time, wouldn't my father have died? Thinking of this, a lonely look flashed in Kakashi's eyes. Lin beside him was different from Kakashi. Chenshin's powerful strength also surprised her, but what was more important was his face. What a cute little face, I wish I could rub it. Unconsciously, Yuan Yelin actually said what was in her heart, making Kakashi next to her suddenly blush. After Chen Tian fused the cards in the field, he couldn't wait to check them. System, bring up the system panel. Host, Chenshin. Strength, 118. Speed, 123. Physique, 122. Spirit, 131. Chakra, 2158. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Taijutsu, Shuriken Basic LV10, Full Level Basic Taijutsu LV10, Full Level Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4, Portable Space LV1. Ninjutsu, Go Fireball Technique LV6, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV5, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV5, Substitute Technique LV10, Full Level Reikiri LV1, Big Explosive Water Wave LV7, Water Formation Wall LV5, Water Dragon Bullet LV4, Instant Body Technique LV6, Tailed Beast Jade LV1. In an instant, Chen Tian's attribute panel changed from a gun to a gun. Now his combat effectiveness is definitely that of a Junin, not even bad among Jonins. Because he picked up too many large water blasts, Chen Tian's ninjutsu directly reached level 7, which was simply terrifying. The same ninjutsu used by Chen Tian is at least twice as powerful as others. Moreover, the teleportation technique he urgently needed also came out, and it was level 6, which was enough for him to use. In this way, Chenshin has no shortcomings except not being able to perform illusions. Had he not taken the initiative to hide the list of sealing techniques, this panel would have been at least 3,000 words long and would have been incomprehensible. These are just small surprises. What really makes Chen Tian happy is the Tailed Beast Jade. That is the Tailed Beast Jade. Although the strength of Tailed Beast Jade has dropped a lot in the later stage, it is definitely top-notch and powerful in the early stage. The only pity is that the level of Reikiri is too low, so Chenshin can only use Chidori now. Hey, why didn't Minato's Flying Thunder God explode? After being happy, Chen Tian sighed in dissatisfaction. If other people heard this, Chen Tian would probably die. Just one battle, you have the strength close to the elite Junin, and you are still not satisfied. After confirming his own strength, Chen Tian closed the system panel and focused his attention on Minato and Kushina again. Yakura's strength is not weak, he is a real shadow-level strongman, but it is a pity that he encountered two perverts, Minato and Kushina. Let alone 1 versus 2, he is no match for either of the two. So Yagura kept getting beaten. If Minato hadn't wanted to kill him, he would have died 10 or 8 times. Okay, just wait for me. Once again kicked in the face by Kushina, Yagura suddenly woke up. With the help of Kushina's power, he left the battlefield and fled towards the distance. At this time, he has understood that although Minato will not kill him, it does not mean that the other party does not dare to him. Even though he ran away like this, Yagura didn't feel good either. Kushina was good at Kylie Fist, and the power of that kick should not be underestimated. Half of Yagura's cheeks lost consciousness. After seeing the battle end, Chen Tian immediately used the teleportation technique to arrive at the battlefield between the three of them, and then began to wander around casually. At least in the eyes of Minato and Kushina. There are not many cards, and there are not even ninjutsu cards, but Chenshin's chakra and spirit have improved a lot, especially there is a purple chakra card belonging to 9 Tails, which makes Chenshin's chakra soared to 3000 in an instant. In this battle he planned, Chen Tian made a lot of money, and he also showed off his strength by the way, so that Minato and Kushina could rest assured that they could do whatever they wanted. The only trouble now is that I can't show off the many ninjutsu I know because there is no way to learn them. Chidori can be said to be familiar to you after watching it once, but what about the others? You can do it after you learn it, just like Kakashi's Reikiri turns into Chidori. Because you just learned it, its power becomes weaker. But you can't learn those water escapes at a glance, and they are more powerful than those Kurikage Junin, right? This doesn't make sense. Let's go, let's talk about anything after we get back. Before anyone could speak, Minato was the first to interrupt and lead the way away. Morning Sky and the others are free to do so. After all, it is still too dangerous in the Kingdom of Water, and there are Madara and Black Zetsu hiding in the dark, so it is best to go home early. It's just that no one saw it. Not all the detonating symbols arranged the morning before exploded. There was still one that was still buried in the ground with a bunch of words densely packed on it. These words are naturally written by Chenshin's hand. As for why this detonating talisman did not explode, no one except Chen Tian knows this question. Perhaps seeing the fighting ability of this group of people, Uchiha Madara gave up the idea of continuing to cause trouble for others. Yakura also knew how powerful these people were, so he did not pursue them either. So after losing the entanglement of these people, the speed of Chen Tian and others was greatly improved. In just 2 days, the group entered the land of the Fire Country. Okay, we have entered the Kingdom of Fire and can take a short rest. Minato clapped his hands and stopped on his own initiative. The past 2 days have been rapid marches, and there has been very little time for rest. Now that we are back in our own country, of course we must take a good rest. After stopping, Minato pointed to Chen Tian's right hand, and Chen Tian took out plates of hot barbecue one after another knowingly. For a while, the forest was filled with the smell of barbecue. For the people who had marched for 2 days, the smell was completely irresistible. After Kushina arranged for Kakashi and Lin, she couldn't wait to eat like crazy. For a time, there was no sound in the entire forest except for the sound of eating. Phew, finally alive. After one person cooked 3 large plates of barbecue, Kushina stopped with satisfaction. After everyone had finished eating, they locked their eyes on Chen Tian. They have too many doubts about this matter, even Kakashi and Yuan Yellen are the same. Not to mention Minato and Kushina who didn't know anything and were just here to save people. Before, Chenshin had been afraid of Uchiha Madara chasing him, so he urged everyone to hurry up. Now he should be able to say that. In fact, Chen Tian was also a little surprised and confused. He asked Kushina to come with him just to prevent Uchiha Madara, but he didn't expect that Uchiha Madara didn't chase her at all. It seems like he can't hold on much longer. As long as he can protect Yuan Yellen in a short period of time, everything will be fine. I don't need to say this, Minato will arrange it. After going through it in his mind, Chen Tian found that although his plan had many flaws, it could still be considered a success. Yakura has seen the strength of Kushina and Minato, plus the Konoha Sannin and Sarutobi Hiruzen. Kurikage will never dare to start a war, so there is no need to worry. But at this time, waiting for a period of time, waiting for those people to leave and die. Chen would never dare to mess around like this. But these are not important. What is important is how should he explain to Minato Kushina now? But fortunately, these were all Chen Tian's random thoughts. Neither Kushina nor Minato asked, which made Chen Tian heave a sigh of relief. If these two really wanted to get to the bottom of it, he really didn't know how to answer. Because the things he did cannot stand up to reasoning at all, and anyone who is not a fool can basically see that there is something wrong with it. Although Kakashi and Yuan Yelin were also curious, they didn't know the whole story, so they didn't think much about it. Mainly because his master and mistress didn't ask, Kakashi just pretended to be confused. However, Chenshin still did not escape Kushina's clutches, and Kushina always remembered the matter of running away from home. After some fighting, several of them were almost rested, so they got up and continued on their way. It was not appropriate for Minato and Kushina to leave Konoha. It would be better to go back as early as possible. On the way back, Chenshin found that there was a problem with his system. He saw a white card dropped from Kakashi, but he couldn't pick it up no matter what. After trying various methods, I had no choice but to give up on this card. But this caused a hint of haze to rise in Chenshin's heart, and he was completely out of sorts. Whoa! Minato appeared next to Chenshin with a teleportation technique, supported his body that almost fell, and asked, Shaoshin, what's wrong with you? Why are you completely out of shape? He had never seen a ninja almost fall down when he was on the road. It was fine before, obviously not injured, but Chenshin's current state makes Minato and Kushina very worried. The two worried eyes kept glancing back and forth at Chen Tian, trying to find out what happened to Chen Tian, but unfortunately they found nothing. Looking at the eyes of the two of them, Chen Tian felt warm in his heart and said, I'm fine. Don't worry, I was a little distracted just now. Let's go back first. After saying that, he took the lead and headed towards Konoha, regardless of whether or not many people believed it. The main reason was that he had no way of explaining this matter at all, so he could only get through it by making jokes. Morning Sky and the others were getting closer and closer to Konoha, but Madara Uchiha on the other side was not as relaxed as they were. His already old body can no longer hold on, and even the heretic golem can't support him for too long. Hey Zetsu, I don't have much time, and the little girl should be too late. Konoha will definitely hide the news about the little girl to prevent the news about the three tails from being exposed. You arrange for Zetsu to disguise himself as the little girl and Hitaki Kakashi, and let Obito turn on the kaleidoscope. I will use the last time to go to Kurikage village and ask them to keep the news about the little girl and the three tails. Heizi was stunned for a moment when he heard the words, and then took a deep look at Madara Uchiha, becoming more wary of him in his heart. But he still didn't show it on the surface. Instead, he respectfully promised, I'll do it right away, Madara-sama. After that, Heiju's whole body slowly blended into the bottom and disappeared into the cave. I don't have much time, so I can only use this useless method. I'll find you when I'm resurrected. A deep voice full of anger echoed through the cave. After a day of running around, Minato had returned to Konoha with a few people. The first time he came back, he was stopped by Anbu at the gate. Hokage-sama, Kushina-sama, and the third generation want you all to go to the Hokage's office. After finishing speaking, the Anbu wearing a fox mask stood there, looking at Chen Tian and others motionlessly. Just as Kushina was about to lose her temper, Minato stopped her and said to the fox-masked Anbu, okay, we understand. After receiving a satisfactory answer, the fox-masked Anbu led a few people towards the Hokage building. Minato, you are the Hokage, why does he, and Anbu, talk like this? That old man, the third generation, has long abdicated. Kushina complained as she walked over, without any intention of suppressing the volume. It was obvious that she was talking to the Anbu in the fox mask. It's a pity that the other party didn't seem to hear it, and there was no change at all. On the contrary, Minato gently pulled Kushina's hand and whispered, it is indeed my fault that I left Konoha without permission this time. Chenshin also temporarily put aside the worry of not being able to continue picking up cards, and thought to himself, has the telescope technique been developed now? But what can you do? While the few people were talking, they arrived at the Hokage's office. After opening the door, Sarutobi Hiruzen was sitting in the Hokage's seat. You are back. After taking a puff of cigarette, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't see any expression at all in the smoke. Yes, Lord Third. After Minato answered Sarutobi Hiruzen's question respectfully, he then explained, the reason for leaving Konoha without permission this time is. You don't need to say anything. Before Minato could explain, Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted him and said to himself, it seems that you haven't fully grasped the responsibilities of Hokage yet. I am assisting you with this old bone. A few years. Haha. Chen Tian laughed secretly in his heart. Have you finally revealed your true colors? It's a pity that you don't have that ability. Thinking of this, Chen Tian was about to speak. It's so good that the system couldn't pick up the cards and vent all the pent-up energy on Sarutobi Hiruzen. But before he could speak, Kakashi had already taken the lead and said, Minato-sensei left Konoha to save me. I will bear any punishment myself. Sarutobi Hiruzen chuckled, shook his head, and said softly, Kakashi, this is not a punishment. You're still too young. Looking at Kakashi, who was choked by Hiruzen Sarutobi's words, Chen Tian shook his head secretly in his heart. Finally, there is such a legitimate opportunity to suppress Minato. Will Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is so greedy for power, give up so easily? Just look at Danzo and you will know that Hiruzen Sarutobi is completely the same type as him. It's just that Danzo is really bad and Hiruzen Sarutobi is hypocritical enough. Boom. Old man, what do you mean? The grumpy Kushina exploded, smashed the desk in front of her with one punch, and shouted angrily at Sarutobi Hiruzen. She is innocent, but she is not really stupid and doesn't understand anything. And she has never had a good impression of Sarutobi Hiruzen. She didn't know it before and had no way to understand it, but after Minato became Hokage, it was no longer a secret to her why the kingdom of Whirlpool was destroyed. If she hadn't found her own bond in Konoha, she would have turned against her long ago. But Hiruzen Sarutobi is actually pushing the envelope now. How could Kushina endure this? Okay. Seeing Kushina going crazy, Chen Tian applauded her crazily in his heart. To deal with this kind of old villain, the only correct choice is to suppress him with fists, other methods are of no use. Shoo-da-da. But right here, a knock on the door suddenly sounded, attracting everyone's attention. Please come in. Hokage-sama. The Anbu discovered that Orochimaru-sama was conducting human experiments and discovered his base. The Anbu who entered the door rumbled out everything without even raising his head, his tone full of disbelief and anxiety. Several people in the office also looked at each other. No one thought that Orochimaru, a disciple of the third Hokage and one of the Sannin of Konoha, would actually do such a thing. Of course, only they themselves know who is pretending and who is real. After all, they are all movie stars. Minato, Orochimaru is my disciple, leave this matter to me. Sarutobi Hiruzen was the first to come to his senses and spoke immediately. Chen Tian, who also pretended to be surprised, immediately became upset when he heard this. It's okay if you ask for it, but who are you ordering here? Coupled with the depression in his heart before, Chen Tian immediately choked out and said, Sarutobi-sama, you have abdicated. I am afraid that the fourth Hokage will have to make this decision. The words, Morning Sky's abdication, and, fourth Hokage, were spoken very hard, which suddenly made Sarutobi Hiruzen's face look ugly. It doesn't matter if there are only a few of them. Hiruzen Sarutobi can find 10,000 reasons, but there are still Anbu here. How can he justify this? Does he still want his reputation? Okay, Minato, you make the decision. But Orochimaru is my disciple, and it would be most appropriate for me to capture him. The old and mature Sarutobi Hiruzen directly borrowed Po Sha donkey, but he secretly hated Chen Tian in his heart. With these few words, Chenshin is definitely a stumbling block for him to suppress Minato, and he needs to find an opportunity to remove it. He is just a 6-year-old baby. Even if he has some talent, it is useless. Talent never equals strength. It's a pity that he didn't know that Chenshin was already a Junin in strength now, and even an elite Junin couldn't kill him, otherwise he wouldn't have provoked Hiruzen Sarutobi so much. Lord Hokage, Orochimaru is one of the 3 ninjas and one of our Konoha's signatures. The fewer people who know about this matter, the better. Why don't we just go? Looking at Minato's hesitation, Chenshin immediately spoke first, winking at Kushina as he spoke. Although she didn't know why Chen Tian said this, Kushina still believed Chen Tian unconditionally and said the same. Orochimaru is very powerful. Minato, it is best for you and I to go together, otherwise he may run away. Quote. While the two of them were talking, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. He has long known about Orochimaru's human experiments, and he also had a hand in studying the cells of the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Even if it was not for Orochimaru, but for himself, he couldn't let Orochimaru be captured alive. But now more than a dozen Anbu are coming one after another. Does he want to suppress Minato in front of so many people? Chenshin was convinced that he did not dare and could not do this, so he spoke like this. Some things can be done in any way behind the scenes, everyone understands it tacitly, but it must not be shown openly. And even if he really overturns the table now, he alone cannot be the opponent of Minato and Kushina. And his biggest helper, Orochimaru, is obviously unable to come to help him in his current situation. The remaining Tsunade and Jiraiya are not in Konoha, and even if they are, they may not necessarily help anyone. Jiraiya is Minato's master and is also a disciple of the third generation. Needless to say, Tsunade has a good relationship with Kushina, and the annihilation of the Senju clan also had the shadow of Hiruzen Sarutobi in it. This led to Tsunade wandering around the ninja world and unwilling to stay in Konoha. At that time, Tsunade might rush even harder than Kushina. Even Kakashi in front of him, his father's death was because of his secret intention. These thoughts flashed through Sarutobi Hiruzen's mind instantly, and he immediately knew that his situation was over, and he couldn't help but fell silent. Before, he could rely on his status as the third generation and Master Minato to command others, but now that this little beast has shown it to him, that method will not work. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Chenshin like a ferocious beast, but Chenshin didn't care at all. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't do it this time, and he won't be able to do it in the future either. Okay, let's go together. If Mr. Sandai wants to go, let's go together. After hesitating for a moment, Minato still did not completely reject the third generation's request. Minato, you are so soft-hearted, no wonder you died after only 2 years as Hokage. Although I sighed in my heart, Chen Tian was even happier. If you want to completely silence Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have to show your fist in front of him. Let him see the fighting prowess of Minato, Kushina, himself and Kakashi today. While thinking, a few of them came to Orochimaru's laboratory under the leadership of a dozen Anbu. The moment he opened the door, everyone's eyes dropped. In the jars of light green formalin, people were soaking naked one after another. In addition to these, there are also many people who have lost their vital signs lying there on the experimental benches. Ha ha ha. Looking at the people filing in, Orochimaru ignored everyone and said to the third generation, "Teacher, you finally found this place." Chenshin originally thought he would have no reaction, but when he saw it, he felt nauseated. It's not that he hates Orochimaru's human experiments, it's just that he feels disgusted. Looking at the others, almost all of them looked ugly, except Kushina who looked plain. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Looking back and forth, Chen Tian thought to himself, how can a person who grew up in this world of cannibalism hate Orochimaru because of such a thing? They all have great acting skills. However, he was not interested in listening to Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen chatting here, so he immediately shouted, "Brother Minato, capture him alive. Kushina will help, and Kakashi and I will harass him remotely." As soon as the words fell, Chen Tian used a teleportation technique to distance himself, and began to form seals in his hands. He is not stupid. With Orochimaru's strength, his speed, strength and physique are at least 1,000 or more. With his data of only 200 or 200, wouldn't it be a killing if he rushes forward? Seeing Chen Tian take action, Minato and Kushina also rushed forward. Crash! Minato's shurikens have been scattered all over the laboratory, and the flying thunder god is taking care of it. Kushina was more direct. 8 golden chains suddenly appeared behind her and wrapped around Orochimaru. The Uzumaki clan can suppress the tailed beast's King Kong blockade as flexibly as 8 cobras. Water release, water dragon bullet technique. At this time, Chen Tian spent 6 seconds to form 44 seals, and the water dragon roared and went straight to Orochimaru. The laboratory is not very big, and the water dragon's body almost breaks through the laboratory. Spiritualism, threefold Rashomon. Bang, bang. The water dragon broke through the first door with great force, deformed the second door and then dissipated. After sending out this blow, Chenshin started fishing at the side, his peripheral vision always locked on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Although Orochimaru is powerful, neither Minato nor Kushina is weaker than him, so Orochimaru has always been at a disadvantage and can only struggle to support himself. If Minato and Kushina hadn't killed him, Orochimaru would have died 2 or 3 times. But even so, he was almost unable to hold on any longer. He would definitely lose in 1 minute at most. At present, Orochimaru still has many ninjutsu that have not been developed, such as Orochimaru's substitute, cartilage technique and so on. There is not even a shadow, otherwise he can persist for a while longer. In fact, Orochimaru himself was very confused. According to his idea, the one who came should be Sarutobi Hiruzen. There was no way Minato could outplay that old Yinbi. But what is the situation now? Why are they all here? Evil disciple, you actually dare to conduct human experiments, I will clean up the house today. Seeing that Kushina was about to successfully seal Orochimaru, Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly summoned the monkey demon and was about to kill Orochimaru with a stick. It would be best to save Shimaru's life, but since we can't let him go, we should prevent him from being captured alive. But Chenshin has been staring at him since he released a water dragon bomb at the beginning. How could he let him succeed so easily? Tailed Beast Jade. Without any hesitation, Chen Tian immediately used his most powerful ninjutsu. Other ninjutsu, even the highest level and most powerful water dragon bomb, cannot threaten Hiruzen Sarutobi. When Chenshin began to condense the Tailed Beast Jade, the 2000 chakras in his body passed at an extremely fast speed, and they all condensed in front of him. Because there was too little chakra, Chenshin's Tailed Beast Jade had already condensed in just an instant, but it was only the size of a fist. Compared with the Tailed Beast Jade that is several meters in size from 9 tails, it is simply frighteningly weak. Even so, just one hit was enough to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen. While condensing the Tailed Beast Jade, Chenshin also moved his steps a few times very sinisterly, so that Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru were on the same line. As long as Sarutobi Hiruzen dares to continue jumping around, Chen Tian will directly release the Tailed Beast Tama and kill him. Sensing the terrifying chakra fluctuations behind him, Hiruzen Sarutobi's body suddenly paused. He looked back at extremely fast speed and saw Chenshin's eager eyes. In just an instant, Hiruzen Sarutobi instinctively stopped and moved to the side. King Kong blockade. With this delay, Hiruzen Sarutobi completely lost his last chance, and Kushina had already controlled Orochimaru. After several seals fell on Orochimaru, sealing all his chakra, Minato and Kushina stopped. Seeing this, Chen Tian slowly dispersed the miniature Tailed Beast Jade in front of him, and at the same time said to Kakashi, "Kakashi, come and help me, I can't stand without chakra." "Chenshin, you actually dare to attack me? Are you trying to rebel against the village?" The furious Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately slapped a big hat on his head. As soon as these words came out, Minato, Kushina and Kakashi were all shocked. Their eyes were not only worried but worried. They also saw what happened before. Chenshin's Tailed Beast Jade was indeed aimed at Sarutobi Hiruzen. The worst thing is that the dozen Anbu were watching, and there was no way to quibble. Immediately, determination flashed through Minato and Kushina's eyes, but they had no chance to speak. Because Chenshin, who was leaning softly on Kakashi, blinked his big bright eyes, looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with an innocent expression and said, "I obviously want to hit Orochimaru, but Sarutobi sir, you rushed up to block my attack. In order not to hurt you, I didn't even attack." Everyone thought about it and realized that this was indeed the case. If it weren't for Sarutobi Hiruzen, Chen Tian's attack would indeed be aimed at Orochimaru. And it was indeed Sarutobi Hiruzen who rushed up on his own. Everyone saw this scene. Then what is Sarutobi Hiruzen going to do now, to avenge private revenge? Looking at everyone's weird looks, Hiruzen Sarutobi almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. In the end, this matter came to an end under the coordination of Minato, and Chenshin did not continue to entangle. The anger in his heart has almost been vented, and there is no need to continue. Anyway, it is impossible to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen here. In any case, He is also the third Hokage, and he has been in power for so many years, so he still has quite a reputation. After being sent home by Kakashi, Chenshin lay lazily on the sofa and said with emotion, "Such a slap in the face is better than a slap in the face of such a big shot." Mourning family has rested, but Minato and others are still rushing to the Hokage building. The child before was Chen Tian. He was only 6 years old and he was already no weaker than us. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Can you handle his last move? Alas, he is already stronger than us at just 6 years old. What a genius. In order to keep it secret, Minato asked these Anbu to be disbanded first. After leaving Minato and others, these people started chatting. At this moment, an Anbu who had never spoken suddenly asked, "Do you think that when Chenshin grows up, will he become the second first Hokage?" As soon as this sentence came out, everyone was speechless. Although I thought it was impossible, there was only one first-generation master, and the others could not be that powerful. But reason told them that it was normal for Chenshin, who was already a Junin at the age of 6, to be as powerful as the first-generation adults in the future. After returning to the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked to interrogate Orochimaru in person. Minato and Kushina looked at each other, showing that this was indeed the case. Minato, who always obeyed Hiruzen Sarutobi, decisively rejected Hiruzen Sarutobi's request and said that he still had something to do, so you should leave as soon as possible. With his nose twisted in anger, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to leave, and the door of the office was almost broken by him. After Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Minato and Kushina did not interrogate Orochimaru, but started chatting with him. The three of them chatted in the Hokage's office for 3 hours, until when the sun was about to set, Kushina unsealed Orochimaru. The escaped Orochimaru, instead of running away, showed a friendly expression, and then quietly left the Hokage's office without anyone noticing. After Orochimaru left, Kushina checked several times to make sure no one was eavesdropping and then asked, "Minato, how do you think Shaoshin knew that the old man would want Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would listen to us for this?" That's right, what Minato and Kushina said before were all given to them by Chenshin before. Everyone has a secret, but Shaoshin's secret is bigger. There is no need to ask. He can't harm Konoha anyway. That's right, I'm not a bad brother even in mystery. Looking at Minato's open-minded smile, Kushina also showed a stunning smile, which made Minato's eyes widen. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.